Hey, everybody, how's it going? Just going in raw there.
Raw dogging.
Raw dogging that.
We're raw dogging that bad boy tonight.
Episode 125. Hawk Shua. Brandon on that thing.
Spit on
Yeah, I'm
that
like
dick.
2 months late to that meme, but that's when they get good. That's when they get good.
Oh yeah.
I'm super into the really old memes. Exactly. I was trying to think of the other one.
They do call you the meme queen, don't they?
You get the go with your Italian meme.
Oh, Mark. Sorry for our audio listeners. You gotta fix the Twitch though. It says we're playing Monster Hunter.
I know why it's doing that because I didn't even go into it. I didn't log into it at all.
That's probably why it's doing it. It's probably not. Yeah, crap. Sorry, audio listeners. We're some technical difficulties here, but we'll get it fixed.
Okay, you're gonna give me a second.
Yeah, no, you're good. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and start getting the post up real quick. We got Star Stripes Nerd here in the house. Gamer Freak 232. How's it going, guys? Sorry, we are late in the podcast. We had some stuff come up, and then I'm at the hospital all day. Been a fun time. Mark, why are you black and white?
I have no idea. Trying to do like a bunch of things, so like just give me a second. It'll be back to normal.
You got like pink hair. Are you one of those wokesters?
I feel like I just need to punch Brandon in a second. Every chat, close your eyes.
Oh my god. He's one of those.
I'm trying to do something, you keep distracting me.
You're literally black and white. I'm so confused right now. Sorry, guys. This is we're definitely raw dogging it tonight for sure. Yeah, I mean, is there anything you could bring up while you're doing that so I can?
Oh, now I don't know why my camera is doing that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure either. Maybe turn it off and on. Sensor cleaning. Still black and white. That's weird. Maybe if I move you out, put you back in, see what happens. Nope, still black and white. Maybe just unplug your camera and plug it back in.
I guess we'll see.
Usually simple crap like that tends to fix a lot of those issues. So, but yeah, we got you can see one of the things we're going to be showing off some pickups. Bear with me, guys. I am very, very sick. I still want to make sure I hit the show since it was such an important one with the Switch 2. But got one of my pickups back there. This is my second PlayStation TV that I've got in my collection. Oh, there we go. Mark's fixed there. So, all right. Go ahead and take it over, Mark. I'm going to get these posts up real quick.
Yeah, so hopefully, that's crazy way to start the podcast all the way around. Hopefully everyone's having a good Friday. A lot of news dropped this week. Obviously, it's all like Switch news, and that's like a lot and close to the bulk, probably what we're going to be talking about today. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. A lot to talk about and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
I know Brand's getting some posts up. Some other news around there, obviously. It's always fun to just dunk on Ubisoft. So there's some Ubisoft news over there that's going on, that's dropped. I don't think we've talked about yet, but more stuff just kind of going on with that. A few general other things. Monster Hunter had an update. Surprisingly, Far Cry 4 was in the news today. Marvel Rivals getting a new character. Everyone's really loving Emma Frost, and then just a lot of Nintendo stuff to talk about. That's like the bulk of it. But I mean, that makes sense. We just had the direct on Wednesday, so that's just like sucking all the oxygen out of the room for anything else. But
it's
a lot
the
of
big
good stuff
boy
to talk
direct.
about.
It's the good stuff.
Oh yeah, the good stuff. But I know Brandon said he wanted to knock out some before we get into the news. Do some of the pickups first. Knock that out, and then we'll go straight into all the good news stuff. So I guess
go ahead and jump into all yours and all.
I didn't have a whole lot. Some of this other stuff I think I picked up like a week, like I think it was like last week. I don't know, just kind of some of this stuff. One thing came in today. The other stuff was I picked up at a Walmart. So surprisingly, I don't know. I was surprised they had it, but the Akira
Oh,
The
nice.
Blu-ray and 4K versions of it was at Walmart.
Had I known you were
It's like,
picking that up, I would have had you grab me a copy too, because
yeah.
mine doesn't
Well,
have
this
it.
was the last Blu-ray, at least when I was there. I've seen it before multiple times. But I mean, yeah. I mean, it's $40 for a 40-year-old movie, but you know,
It
it's
is
not for,
remastered, to be fair. It is.
it's I don't have it in DVD now, so it's one of those pros. And then just because sometimes Walmart, or at least my Walmart does, they had the season 1 and 2 of Psycho Pass. I was like, screw it. This was cheaper than the movie. I think that was like $20. And then the first of many old retro games for the DS that I was in the process of picking up came in today. So it's not gonna look too well on the camera, but Heart Gold, Soul Silver, just the game itself. Ended up taking
Nice.
that because I haven't played these remakes, and now they're like $120 to $150, like on eBay. Just the game alone. It's not the cheapest, but it's good, and some other games I wanted to get into. So I got, what's it? It's either, I think it's black. It's white. I think it's white 2 that I have. So I still need to get black and white, and then black 2, and then platinum as well, and some of the stuff I was trying to get. So it's just a bunch of the older Pokemon games I was kind of targeting and trying to go after. I'm doing right now. Some of your top 10 anime. It's kind of hard because there's a lot of good stuff. I mean,
I think they
you've got
probably
a
meant of
Violet.
what you own, like what you got on the shelf behind you.
Top 10. I think it's a mixture because you got like Violet Evergarden, Spice and Wolf. I don't have it, but I think I probably put Dandadan up there as well. I definitely really like that one. Was it Yu Hakusho? I probably don't have like a list. Probably Tenchi Muyo and some other stuff like that. Gate. Uh, I have Friendrin, but I haven't watched it yet. Yeah, a whole bunch of other good stuff. I probably have to like do a full proper list because like I don't have like a go-to top 10 for a lot of that stuff. Even the same with a lot of games. I got stuff I like, but nothing that I've like put together in a top 10 off the top of my head. And there's always good stuff coming out every year, and there's other stuff like, you know, shows that I like more than when I was younger. Like I'm higher now on Gundam Seed, or that whole universe, and I'm much lower now than I was back then as far as Gundam Wing. It's quickly not one of my least
I,
favorite Gundam
I
shows.
love Gundam Wing so much.
The more time goes on, the more I watch, especially Universal Century, just becomes it's such a very flawed show and stuff like that.
I mean, I think there's probably a flaw to most of the besides the Universal Gundam timeline, which even there's some slow moments and
But it's
some.
far superior than it's the Universal Century timeline in and of itself is like superior to everything else they put out since. So that's a hill I'm willing to die on.
What about Gundam QQQQQQQ?
I don't know. I've not watched it. I know it's supposed to be from what I understand, it's a new spin or new take on Universal Century. If like Xeon had actually won the
I
1
don't
Year
even.
War,
Do you know how you actually say the title?
I have no idea. All I know is it's supposed to be an alternate take on if Xeon had won the 1 Year War of the Earth Federation, which I think is like a neat concept. But that's just secondhand, so I've not actually watched it. Because obviously it's one of those where even if the original movie or whatever they aired initially in theaters comes to the US, it comes like forever later. So I get around to watching it, you know, whenever they decide, hey, we're going to finally air this thing.
Yeah.
So, but no, definitely a lot of good stuff. I don't know if you were ready to talk about your stuff, or you need me to keep going for a little bit.
You know, go ahead and share all your stuff. I'm still working.
Well, man,
on
I already
this
shared. I
album.
didn't have that many pickups to talk about.
I got quite a few because I had stuff sent out that I'm going to be covering on the channel and stuff too. But let me.
I
Is
spent
there
a lot of
anything
stuff
else
on
you
my
can
trip
riff
that we
off
talked
real
about.
quick while I get one thing up here on Facebook real quick?
No, yeah, I think I can. Where is it at? I thought I had something. I can't remember if I aired it or not on stream. I think I did. I don't know. But I did, because I picked this up at Walmart surprisingly as well. Just 'cause I don't have a lot of game pickups unfortunately, but Friendrin and stuff like that, which I know is a pretty good show. I think I ended up picking it up at the store and stuff like that. It's one of those shows I need to watch.
What's
Just
it
haven't got
called?
around to like actually watching it.
What's it called?
Friendrin,
Can I see it?
Beyond Journey's End. Like if you're on the internet, I'm sure you've seen some of the memes about it.
Oh, I've seen Skyforge Gaming did a whole case for that series. The Asmongold's company. I think it's called Skyforge, right? Or
Yeah, I believe
Starforge,
so.
something
Star
like
Yeah, I
that.
think it's Starforge. A lot of good stuff about the show, so,
I've heard good things. Yeah,
uh, trying to see if Brandon's is good to go.
almost. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get there.
But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to have a good Friday, so
We
I
can get
didn't
started in the first
wasn't
topic if you want to.
yeah, I was about to say, like, I wasn't, like, really prepared to, like, completely riff outside of some of the other stuff, but, got some other smaller stuff before we get into, like, the Nintendo stuff we can
Yeah, go
definitely
for
talk
it.
about. So I think I mentioned early on, so for whatever reason, Far Cry 4 specifically was back in the news today.
All right.
Uh, so this was one of those things where apparently there was an update for the game that dropped early today that essentially censored all the nudity in that game worldwide. And then a few hours later, they came out like that was a mistake. And of course, there's a whole
What?
bunch of people talking about the issue because, like, Tencent just invested a significant portion in the new subsidiary with Ubisoft, which we'll get into later and stuff like that. But people just immediately jumped on that. It's like, oh, this was it was an error that they say it's supposed to be a specific region build, which I
That's
could believe, but
crazy.
they put it out and everyone just assumed like, oh, Tencent is buying another company. Now they're like censoring all of their old games. But it was one of those things I'm like, unless you're like giving access to like more support for like newer hardware as far as like, ultra wide and something like that, which I don't even think you really need for a game this old. I don't know why a game this old really even needs an update to begin with. Or
Seems
and how
silly.
you're accidentally dropping an update. Like, what is somebody just not paying attention to what they're doing? I mean, it's a possibility, but it's just kind of stupid.
Yeah, seems pretty silly to me.
From what they say, they came out and reverted, but it's weird. Like, why is like Far Cry 4? Like, that's crazy. The game's over 10 years old.
I mean, Far Cry 6 is out, for God's sake.
Yeah, and then in another 5 years, you get Far Cry 7. It's
Hope.
just a matter of time. But in the same, I don't know, it's not necessarily the same breath. We did get some new news as far as new characters coming to Marvel Rivals. Let me make sure this isn't
Yeah, I'm excited about this one.
blasting some noise. So we actually got a full on little character trailer for what's it, Emma Frost. They dropped a nice little trailer for us.
Sick.
And of course, it's like everything you wanted. And I've seen some of the memes on there. People saying, "Oh, video gaming is healing," because of her actual outfit, one of those really revealing outfits and stuff like that. I think they said it was like around 1,700 credits or whatever the in-game store is and something like that. So obviously, this is a character you're going to have to buy in the game. But
Yeah, of course.
Marvel Rivals have been doing a really good game. It's one
Well,
of the
normally you don't have to buy the characters; you just buy the costumes.
well, this is a
From
new
my
character.
Yeah, but they've added new characters for free.
From what I understood, she wasn't for free.
Oh, okay. That must be something new then. I'm not sure.
Yeah, variable April 11th.
That must be new, yeah. Because as far as I'm aware, all the characters are playable. You just
let me
need to
try to
buy the
double check.
costume. Because I know I haven't bought any of the new characters yet, and I played all of them that have came out so far. But I could be wrong. Maybe it's a new thing.
I
they're
thought I
trying.
saw something about them saying it was going to cost something, but I can't remember unless it was like a costume.
It could be that revealing costume because that's obviously.
But that's all they
the show.
showed. Okay, so they say Emma Frost is dropping with it. So is Emma Frost already in the game, or is it just a new costume? Because I didn't know if she was in the game or not. To be honest, I haven't played the game in a hot second, so
I haven't played it in a minute either. I can look it up real quick.
So the Emma Frost X Revolution costume bundle will go live in the shop on April 11th when Season 2 begins. According to data pulled from the game, it will be an epic rarity bundle that costs 1,600 units in the store, meaning it will include the X Revolution skin and MVP animation, a new emote, a fresh spray, and nameplate, though the nameplate won't be animated. So I don't know if that's just her as a character, or it's just this costume that they just, her X Revolution costume, but that's not going to be her default. But regardless, I don't know how much that is in real world money. I hate that games do this. But
yeah,
all this
to
goes
be
live,
fair, it is a
April
free to
11th.
play game, so I mean they at least get the justification of doing it. They got to make money somehow.
Yeah, so pretty much this goes live next Friday. So one more week essentially get new characters, and
Oh,
some tells me
right
she's gonna
on.
be a really popular character for the next weekend.
I imagine. I'm still stuck on Squirrel Girl when I play. I can't get myself off of.
I don't know how she's gonna play, but I'm sure regardless she'll be pretty popular for a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
But I mean, it's pretty obvious to see why, and that's why everyone's talking about it. I was like, "Oh wow, look, you do something and people like just will simp over your game." It's almost like sex sells. We were saying that for a while.
I mean, it does, right? It is kind of that's kind of the truth.
It's not the hardest thing to kind of understand why people talk about that. Like, not surprisingly. Uh,
Yeah, true.
but as well as we got our first major update, the Monster Hunter Wilds, what they're calling their title update 1, and apparently people are having crashes and connectivity issues with this update, which is not what you want to see for a game it's doing pretty well, really popular game
Yeah.
here the past like 2 months since it came out.
I imagine Capcom's going to get this fixed pretty quick. It's too big of a game for them to, leave problems like that hanging around. So,
So some of the stuff they were talking about, they say we've confirmed that the game crashes when you talk to Nata and select Seka to trade items at the village intermediary. Um, and this come from the Monster Hunter status over on Twitter. They say we confirm the rankings for Arena Quest and Challenge Quest include some times which are either fraudulent or the result of bugs. They're working on that, and they say the previously reported Monster Hunter Wilds online connectivity issues and gameplay issues have now been resolved. This was all happening, earlier this morning, primarily last night into this morning. But I mean, there's always the chance that some of these bugs could still be around potentially if they were having these issues. But they seem to like try to jump on this pretty quickly. Like they realize it's happening and they're not like dragging their feet to like get a patch out and stuff. So
yeah,
hopefully,
which is a good
for a
thing.
lot of people later tonight and stuff like that into the weekend, because the weekend's always going to be when a lot of people are playing games and stuff like that. Especially with this new
New
update,
update.
you don't run into any new bugs, but I'm sure it's the possibility you'd be on the lookout and stuff. So
Hey, what's up,
it's always
Mr.
it's always
Coffee?
worth being aware.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. How you both feeling? I have been much, much better. I think Mark's doing all right though.
No, I'm doing fine. I mean, it's been a busy week, but other than that, I've been doing fine. I've been all over the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, on top of that, we did get some news about some N64 games on the Switch 2 apparently getting some new features. So what they stated is N64 games on the Switch 2 will come with new features like customized button mapping, a rewind option, and a retro filter. Uh, and this is
Which is
supposed
the
to drop
first
the
time
same
they're
day.
adding scan lines, from my understanding, which is good
Yeah.
because, gives you the authentic way to kind of play the game.
Yeah, so for all 34 games that are on the NSO, uh, it should be effective all of them, and then from what I understand, it's happening same day, June 5th, is when a lot of these updates are coming. So it's not always just stuff. I don't know. I can't remember. Is this going to be just for the Switch too, or is this just
What,
dropping the updates dropping the same day, like
the
these all these
64
features?
stuff?
Yeah,
The 64 stuff, I can't say for sure because that's
because it doesn't
on
make sense.
Switch
Like if it's on the
1.
NSO, it would make sense just to have it across the board. It's
I
just
think
happening.
it would be
They're
across
dropping
the
the
board.
update.
Of course, the GameCube stuff's going to be exclusive to Switch 2, but the 64 stuff, I assume, is across the board.
Yeah, and then I guess in the same breath, they did come out and say, for the Switch 2, the GameCube will offer optional CRT filters for GameCube games
Which
if
is
you want to play it like that.
that's good. I mean, because a lot of people that like when I play, I
Yeah,
prefer to play my retro
and
games on CRT.
to be fair, when you're emulating retro games, these are like already default filters, so you could argue, why did it take you all this long? But I guess better late than never to get some of these filters if that's how you want to play it.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
it's similar, but it's still not the same thing. 'Cause it's
It's
not the
not.
same
It
type of
definitely
gameplay.
does not replicate playing on a CRT. I personally don't like CRT filters. I prefer to play on a CRT for retro games, but
'Cause
I
it's not even
don't.
the same. Because like, I remember playing on CRTs and the scan lines are there, but they weren't really noticeable like they are on an emulation. Like, it just doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like people either love or hate it as far as like filters go. Some
I
games
never
do it
use
better.
CRT filters.
Some games do it better than others. Like there are like game collections out there that do CRT filters pretty good. Then other ones it just feels like pretty chunked on where it doesn't you just don't get the the same replication as playing on an actual CRT.
Yeah, but
Um,
CRTs are very quickly not really they're going away slowly but surely
they
and stuff like that. It's getting harder and
like,
harder
yeah, I mean, every day there's another CRT gone, but they are bigger than they've ever been in the retro community for sure. I mean,
because there's a limited supply now, they're gonna go away eventually.
yeah, there's nobody
So, like,
manufacturing them anymore, so
get it while you can.
people are hanging on even to the worst models because I mean, it's even the worst model
Yeah.
CRTs, like you're very limited on what you can get now.
But, I mean, it's just one of those things in, like, 50 years, CRTs just aren't gonna exist anymore.
Well, people will always be repairing them and keeping them up to date to
Yeah,
work,
but there's
but
like I said
they're
before,
not
there's
gonna.
only so many parts that you're gonna be able to
Yeah,
have and find, and eventually you're just it's a diminishing supply, and
keep them
eventually
around as
it's
long as
just
you
not going
can
to
and keep them
exist.
maintained and take care
Yeah.
of them. Make sure you get them serviced and do everything you can to, lengthen the life of them because they definitely have a much, much, much longer lifespan than modern TVs do. Obviously, I've got, a CRT over here from 1986 that still works just like it did then. And,
So what's the
here we are. Here we
what
are, and
be
I've
careful.
replaced a new TV like 6 different times in the past 10 years.
Yeah, what's it? Oh, 6 and 10, like, I've had my TV for, like,
Bro, you
since
remember when I
2017.
broke this one? This was it was probably like 5 months ago. I was so irritated because I had just spent $1,400 on the TV, getting a nice OLED TV,
I don't know how it broke so
and
quick.
then
That's crazy.
I did nothing but turn the TV on. I did nothing.
Like, yeah, I've
It
had
never
my
moved one time since I've owned it.
TV for 8 years, and it still works just fine.
I have no idea. I have no now
It's
and then
limited functionality
I
with
got
all these
so
features.
irritated that I didn't get another good TV. I just went with a crappy TV and called it a day. 'Cause I now I game on my monitors mostly anyway, so, like, really I didn't care as much as I once did because I was gaming exclusively on a TV, but now that I do PC gaming, even my consoles, I play on a monitor more often than not because of refresh rates and stuff like that, 1440p mode and stuff like that, so I
Yeah, but
just prefer to, you know
what's that meme with the modern TV? "Be careful, you're gonna break my TV," or with the old CRTs, like, "Be careful, you're gonna break a piece of furniture with this thing."
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
drop
for sure.
glass, it doesn't break, it just breaks your foot instead. You're like, "Oh my god, this thing is heavy,
Dude, tech was just
bulky."
it
And
was
the weight was, like,
made
all in the front
different.
of it because that's where the glass was, so it would always lean forward, so it was just a
Yeah.
pain to carry.
Yeah, it was just things were definitely made differently back then. Look at the CRTs still lasting today, and meanwhile, you've got, modern TVs that
But
for a
even the
lot of
modern
people
TVs were
last
to
a
last, like,
couple of
20
years.
years, like, the technology would be so outdated with, like, eventually it's like, you're gonna have to buy a new TV, your games aren't gonna work on it because
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
they
like, you
won't
think of
downgrade that far.
like an early LCD TV, like they look like absolute dog crap. Like even LCD technology has come such a long way.
I mean, to be fair, I've seen people, like, plug, like, a PS5 into, like, an old CRT, and
I've
it's
done
very
it.
obviously downgraded
I've got all the equipment to
crap.
do it. I
Not an
plugged my
ideal way to do it.
PS5 into a portable handheld
And you
TV.
can always tell, like, how like, the screen's just getting cut off, like, really bad half the time
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
just
for
can't
sure.
work.
Yeah, for sure. It's probably the capacitors. Those are always a problem. Yeah, for sure. You always got to get all your stuff recapped. Your retro game systems, your retro computers, your
I guess the
CRTs,
real next
everything's
thing is
got to be
how do we
recapped eventually.
properly, capture and display old games or on a modern, like, OLED and LCD essentially, when it comes to, like, those old games? Like, how can you, like, essentially emulate an LCD screen naturally on the display itself?
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry.
Like, instead of, like, having, like, just a screen on the software, like, actually having, like, a TV with a hardware option for, like, the
Like
LCD.
to replicate a CRT on a modern
Yeah,
TV, the
yeah.
retro tank. So,
No, like, not like, on built into the TV itself. Do you think that will ever be a thing?
all built into it, probably not because it's so niche upon niche. Like that is a niche of a niche. There's so few people out there. I mean,
But you don't
obviously
think,
for
like, a
us
smaller
retro
company would
gamers, it
would
matters, but like for the modern TV market, that probably makes up like
I don't
0.0001%.
know, what they say, like,
But that's
29,
what retro tanks are
17% of
for.
people play retro games via Steam, something like that?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, but that's what RetroTinks are for. They do that. They replicate a CRT the closest you can possibly ever get to being able to play on a modern day TV, and it gets really close. Like RetroTinks are really really good products, like very good products. Even the new RetroTink 4Ks, I haven't got that one yet. I do plan to upgrade to that at some point, but I have the RetroTink 5X Pro, and I can't recommend it enough. Like it's the closest replication that you'll ever get of a CRT on a modern display.
I mean, fair enough.
That's why they're
Think-
they're not cheap either, but they do the job and they work very very well. So
it's probably
uh,
gonna be the only way that you're gonna be able to like
I
emulate
mean,
that.
it's the only legit way to do it. Like that, anybody that's a hardcore retro gamer that wants to play on modern hardware or modern screens owns a RetroTink for sure. I
So
mean,
when we
retro.
get to like the standard size of a TV is like 150 inches or something like that. How will that blown up size
Well, that's what the RetroTink 4K
be a
is for.
problem?
It fixes that problem. I mean, it
Yeah, all
fixes
right,
those
but like
problems.
when you get 250 screens or something like that, and we're dealing with like 250K resolution, like
I don't know. Maybe we'll have the 256K resolution RetroTink out there. I have no idea.
we going crazy. Or bigger the better, baby. We love it. Some other, hopefully, some good news. There's obviously, if you haven't already heard, there's rumors that we may be getting a remake for Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. I don't know if you heard anything about that.
Oh yeah, I think that's 100% happening, but I have zero faith in them doing it
Oh my
correctly.
god! Like, oh my god! Like, how many remakes of Skyrim do we like, or remasters, re-releases of that game? It's like, come on! Like, you've got older games that we would want to play, and I think Oblivion is
I mean,
the
to be
obvious.
fair, Oblivion is supposed to be like a full-on remake, not like a remaster or like a legendary edition or like
Well, it
anything like
needs a
that.
remake with how old the graphics are and some of the
I
mechanics. Like,
still
it
think
needs.
Oblivion holds up very well today.
No, it
I
does, but,
enjoyed
like,
it.
if it would look maybe as good as even Skyrim or something a little bit newer, I think it would benefit the game would
Oh,
benefit.
for
It's one of those
sure.
games that it came out when 3D was still kinda, like, trying to find its way. It's that 360 era and stuff like that where some games look good,
Well,
some
let me
games maybe
ask you a
not so
question.
much.
Are you a fan of Morrowind at all?
I want to like the game, but there are some game mechanics that I don't care for. Like, I get why people like them, but, like, the whole, RNG element of swinging a sword and whether or not you're actually gonna do damage and hit is really frustrating. Either if you didn't grow up with it or you're just so used to how modern games work.
So I have a super hot take. I think that both Morrowind and Oblivion are both better than Skyrim. I've just always felt that way. I played Skyrim a dozen times over in multiple different versions
There's
and
a
on
reason
multiple
Skyrim was so
consoles.
I think the game design for Skyrim was like the world design for it is really well
It's great. It's a
executed.
great game.
It's just I think the only issue with Skyrim is just the game, like, the combat mechanics were so simplified in that game, and it worked to its benefit and to its detriment in both ways. As far as it limited what you could do in the game as outside of modding, but it also was probably the reason that far more people got into Skyrim, as a whole
Yeah.
together and stuff like that. I don't because I think there's pros and cons to games being super simplified and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then again, I think that that's the benefit because at this point, like, that game's still relevant because of the modding scene, so much stuff you can do with the game. And you
Yeah.
kind of gotten to the point, like, let's be fair. This is I think this is the way the studio is gonna go, is they can make the game kind of bare bones as far as some of the mechanics, knowing that the game's gonna get modded to hell essentially to fix all these problems, and you can make it as simple or as complicated combat as you want.
One of my
And there's
big
mods that
problems though
essentially
with
make it like a Dark Souls-esque game for some of the combat.
One of my big problems with the whole Oblivion remake is the fact that they decided they needed to go and make a whole inclusive team of developers to work on the game, and as if like everybody's not a person, can't we all just like work on the game together? Why do you have like your own special inclusive team of people with pink hair and blue hair and whatever? Like why can't we just all work on the game? Why do we need to have a all
Yeah.
inclusive DEI team for Oblivion? Like that made me lose all hope and all of caring at all about that game coming out, because I want to play that. because I love Oblivion, but like I just I just have so little faith in the company right now that
Yeah,
I
so
just
I guess we'll after the other games, I will say this, obviously, nothing has been officially announced for this. This is j kind of just rumored.
officially, but it kind of has officially been announced too.
I mean,
It's
they've edited, like, but a lot of, the ZeniMax owned games have, like, their Steam page edited, but this one, like, had a lot of trailers and stuff removed and stuff like that, so some people are kind of like, I don't know, this is just rumored stuff like that, so obviously we're still waiting for initial announcement, but the big thing obviously is, are they gonna remove elements of the game, whether it's the story combat there? Are they gonna change how the game was originally? When people just want,
yeah.
when you deal with, like, these remakes, like, I just want a new coat of paint on the game. uh I think the voice acting could use a
Oh,
redubbing, but
for
that's just
sure.
me.
Yeah, for
Obviously, you can
sure.
still play it as is, so it's not, if you can play the original version and the new Dakota Paint, I would say there's a lot of mechanics that need fixed. I would also, this might be a hot take, redo a lot of the voice acting and stuff like that,
The
but
voice
I just,
acting was pretty dreadful even for
you
the
just need to
time.
fix some of the game mechanics to just, maybe not be as clunky as they were back then. Don't necessarily remove anything, just make it a more smooth experience to play the game in a new coat of paint. That's really all people want. They don't want you, like, completely changing things and stuff like that. So, um, I'm like, if you're
Yeah,
gonna make the actual Imperial City, like, actually feel, like, bigger or something like that, like, if it's like a whole in, we're gonna not remove anything in format, but we're gonna add far more actual content, make the world feel bigger and stuff like that. I think that would be a far, if you're gonna actually fully remake this game, I would say make Oblivion actually feel like the actual size it should actually be as a province, which is massive and stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
go in, make these cities feel bigger. Don't do what they did in that in Skyrim. These towns that are supposed to be really big and there's like 20 people that live in them. Like, actually go in and make these
yeah,
cities feel like cities and stuff like that. And just add a bunch. You're not removing, but you're just giving far more content, adding more quests, making the world bigger and stuff like that. Because then people would, I feel like people would be more receptive to the game as a remake. It's not just, oh, they did the bare minimum and they're charging us $70 for it.
There's also so many games that, like, essentially tie into Oblivion as well, that were, like, different spin-offs that came out over the years and stuff like Shadow Key and,
Yeah,
um
but, like, let's be fair, nobody's really played those games. It's just that
nobody's really played those games, but
talked
what I'm
about.
saying is they can take, because nobody's played those games, they can take the lore and what was built up from those games and
You
add
could
it
add them as a
into a
DLC.
no, just add it into the game to give you a beefier game and,
Yeah. I
you
feel like they
know,
wouldn't do that. They're just gonna ignore those games at this point because they were kinda
I
bombed
wish they
when they
wouldn't
offered.
because there were a lot of good games that came out that people just unfortunately either didn't have a system for or just never knew about or they weren't advertised well
You're sitting here thinking,
or
like, how many people had, like, the
the
N-Graph or whatever
Engage.
it was, the Engage? Like, how many people actually had something like this? It's crazy.
Not
Like,
many,
nobody
yeah.
played this game.
Yeah, not many had it, but, there's definitely a there's way more, Elder Scrolls games out there than people realize, and a lot of, like, a lot of really good stuff that I feel like people just completely overlooked or, like, didn't have a way to play or, whatever it might be,
Yeah,
so
then again, yeah, because I got the hot take because I liked a lot of some of the mechanics and, like, the story and how you could essentially kill non-essential MCPs in Morrowind, but I absolutely dread the actual combat in that game. It drives me up a wall.
that's
And
fair.
it's one of
I
those
mean, I
things where
get
it's
it.
like some people, you either love it or hate it, and it was definitely a product of the era, and just game design's just not how it was back then.
I mean, it's yeah, it's definitely different. The games industry has changed tenfold since then, and, so I guess we'll just kinda see what happens to this, but I guess
Yeah,
before you
because
jump
it's
into
Yeah,
the
because
other
I just
news,
wanted to, like, say one thing, like, let's be fair, like, I feel like a lot of people, if they actually went and played, like, Arena and, the second Elder Scroll game, I'm blanking on the actual name of the game,
oh,
those games are so far more those are even more frustrating to go back and play now with how
they're
I
so
just don't think
different.
they've aged well.
They're different. They're different types of games than your
So as far as,
Oblivion
like, the
and
first, I think that
Morrowind
you
or
you have, Elder Scrolls 1, 2, and 3 is kinda their own era, and it peaked with Morrowind as far as, like, the gameplay. Obviously, the maps kinda got smaller, but it's the style of gameplay was there, and then it kinda got a reset with Oblivion and then to Skyrim as far as, like, game design just kinda changed from the old probably more true to the RPG mechanics to just more modern combat and,
yeah, because I mean,
less
looking
less
back,
role playing, more just like active combat, essentially.
like Arena and Daggerfall are like such different games than like any of the games that people know in the Elder Scrolls series. But like there's some definitely some bad ones in there. Like for instance, Redguard was not a good game at all.
Yeah, it's
Like
technically like a spinoff.
it's technically a spinoff, but it's
Yeah,
also technically a mainline game. I mean, if you look at the actual timeline of the story, technically it's a mainline game. It is a quote unquote spinoff, but I mean most of the Elder Scrolls games are spinoffs that people don't even know about. So
yeah. But it's one of
um,
those weird things, people talk about, I think it started probably at least with Skyrim, but I think it's a lot of modern gaming, how people you're either for or against fast traveling. But
yeah,
considering how large both it's not Morrowind, it's Daggerfall and
yeah.
Arena's maps are, they're designed around the fact that you have to fast travel in those games.
I'm trying to zoom in
You're not
when you're
gonna get
talking.
anywhere.
You keep changing
Oh,
it.
I couldn't tell.
No, I was
Well, no,
gonna
if you were
do that
talking and I
when
got
you were
big, I'm like,
focused on
"That doesn't
talking.
make sense."
I was trying to put you on there so people could see you. But I guess before we move on, I'll go ahead and show my pickups here real quick, and I'm going to let Mark kind of take the helm of the show today because I'm just not feeling good and having a hard time with my voice. So I'm going to go ahead and
Ooh.
show what we got. Some of this was sent out from companies. A couple things were pickups that my friend got me at a convention he went to when I wasn't able to go because of my grandma's funeral. So he picked up some stuff for me there. I picked up a couple of things today at GameStop. And yeah, there's just a few random things that I got. Two things that came in that I ordered months and months ago that finally came in. But yeah, so there's some stuff to show here. But one thing I did want to actually announce that I was I was really bummed out to see, as much as people have a love-hate relationship with GameStop. Unfortunately, where I live, it's the only modern gaming store. So like it's like, you're more likely to get, like, for instance, a console pre-order there than you are online because just not as many people
Yeah.
are doing it. And it's way easier for me to go in there and get a game day one there
I think
than waiting online where it might not even
yeah.
come. And, it might be important for streaming or whatever it might be with getting something that day that it comes out, and the
I think
pre-order bonuses and the sales and the five, you get $5 a
yeah.
month, which might not seem like a lot, but I still get something free out of it every single month. It pays for itself.
Yeah, I
And
think
I
it gets
also
a lot of
build up the
undue
points.
hate for
It
GameStop because,
does.
like, "Oh, well, you're not gonna buy it because the whole but it's like they're gonna buy a used game, but, like, they have to resell it to make money, and I'm not gonna get as much money." I'm like, "Yeah, you'd sell it yourself then," type thing, and
That's
I
what I do. I
feel
mean,
like
I don't
that's
sell my
an
games at
undue
GameStop.
amount of criticism they get because I'm
They
just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, if you're selling Madden, 25, like, bro, no one's gonna buy that game."
Like, I'm not going to straight up defend GameStop because they've done some deplorable things over the
No, but there's
years,
a
but
lot of,
I
undue criticism
appreciate
of
being
just
able to
the
have
market.
access to a store where I can go pick up the game that I want to get on day one or get the pre-order bonus. Or the console launches are huge because of GameStop, I was able to get my Series X day one. Because of GameStop, I was able to get my PS5 just 2 days after launch. Because of GameStop, I was able to do all these different things. And my plan originally for the Switch 2 launch was to go there super early. I was going to go probably 5-6 hours early for pre-order day for the Switch 2. Go there, if I need to wait in line to pre-order it. But at the same time, I'm going to have my phone ready to go to try to pre-order it online too. So I have double the chances of being able to try to get it day one and being able to talk about it and cover it, right away and stuff like that. So that was kind of my plan until I happened to be walking by GameStop today and saw the giant sign. I actually took a picture and I was like, well, I said, this really sucks, but honestly, in no way was this completely a surprise to me because I thought for sure this particular GameStop was going to get shut down 4 years ago. I thought for sure that it was just done because they were not, like, their sales were down, declining massively. If it weren't for um, the stonks for GameStop, I don't think it even would be around right now for my area. And so my area is not the only one. I was told today that there were 280 store closures, and there's more to come that have not been announced yet. So it's not just my GameStop, unfortunately, but I do live in a small town, and there's just very limited availability. The only other thing that's available for getting all of that brand new stuff is going to be Walmart, and obviously it's just not the same. So
Yeah, and
um,
I guess I did wanna say, so, like, if any of you are still even interested in stuff like that, Nintendo's doing their own, yeah, it definitely sucks.
yeah,
If you're trying to, like, pre-order it from Nintendo, one of the unique ways I guess they were trying to combat, botting and stuff like that is, they had their own unique take if you kinda haven't already seen it and stuff like that, which I think more people should well, I guess they couldn't do exactly what Nintendo did, but it's a unique way.
yeah,
So obviously you need to be an account holder and at least
which
be
makes
18 years or
sense.
older. And I think they said it's only one person per account. So if you have like a family account, whoever owns that family account's the only one that can use this
That's
to pre-order through their own site.
completely fair, so that everybody can get a console to go around.
Yeah. So they're gonna send out. You just go in there and you register. They're gonna send out invites. Well, their website still says May 8th. I don't know if anything's gonna change. Uh, but
It's
they're
still coming
essentially
out the same day, but pre-orders are not happening the same
well, this
day.
is essentially allowing. This is their the way to invite people to allow them to pre-order the game. Essentially,
Yeah, I
and this
was
is on their
really
site, so I'm guessing
upset
some change.
because you sent me that, but I had actually just gotten the notification about that probably 30 minutes before you sent it to me, and I, by accident,
Did
clicked
the
the
regular one.
non-bundle version, which why would I not want the bundled version and only pay $50 for Mario Kart versus paying the full price?
Yeah,
So, I
that's probably gonna be
unintentionally
the more
hit that,
popular
and
one.
you cannot go back. Once you made the selection, that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sucks.
I screwed
They
up
did
big
say
time.
essentially you're gonna receive it via invites. They say it's gonna be delivered on first come, first served basis, and if you do get this criteria, you have a whole 72 hours to essentially go and buy the console. You've got
Yeah,
to not miss it.
I was also
Uh,
gonna say to you, if you get the opportunity to be able to get 2 of the consoles somehow, some way,
for what I
whether it be
under oh, yeah, from
multiple.
this is only like a one
No,
shot,
well, no,
but,
no, what I'm saying is if it's another, like, Best Buy or Walmart or something like that, if you are
yeah,
able to get a second console, like for me, and vice versa, if I'm able to get a second console for you, I'll just straight up buy it. You pay me, I pay you, whatever, however we wanna do it, just to make sure that we can both secure a console right away. I'm gonna
yeah,
do that. I'm gonna go out of my way to try to make sure I get you, and if nothing else and you end up getting yours, I'll just cancel it, you know? No harm, no foul.
yeah, fair enough.
So, I
Uh,
figure that's an easy way to do it is, if we end up seeing that, one goes up on Best Buy and one goes up on Walmart, I'll go on both and I'll buy one from both and make sure that you get
I
one
guess
and I
I
get
mean, this will
one.
probably be the one you find out the soonest if you're able to get this, but,
Yeah.
on top of it, the actual they say the priority requirements, are as follows. So, one, you must have been the only one to purchase any the one who purchased the Nintendo Switch Online membership. You must have had any paid Nintendo Switch Online membership for a minimum of 12 months, which is the
It's
other way
good.
they're
Good
getting
way
rid
to
of the
beat
bots.
bots. Yep.
Essentially, they're gonna because you this going through the website, it's linked to your actual account, so they're gonna see you can't just buy it now. You had to have had this for at least a full 12 months. Be like, okay, this person
Which to be
actually plays their console and uses it
Yeah. To
essentially.
be fair, PlayStation has started doing that too. They did it with the launch for the PS5 Pro.
Yeah, it's
They did it.
kinda combat the botting issue.
Yeah, it's the best way to do it. I mean, it's really like if you think about it, there aren't too many ways to fight the bots, and that's one good way to do it is by making sure you are linked to an account. You're only able to get one of the consoles, and that's it. And that you've had that account for a certain amount of time and didn't just buy it 2 days prior to be able to
Yeah,
get it.
because they
So
also said, "Hey, you need to have been opted in to share gameplay data and have at least 50 hours of total gameplay hours," to be like, just
they
because you
got that
have it,
easy.
you don't play it, like, well, you don't play your Switch and now you wanna switch too, well, we wanna, you know, somebody who at least has some amount of playtime on the actual Switch and stuff like that, so
For sure, for
I do
sure.
think it's a unique way, and, it's harder for third parties obviously can't do that, but, like,
Right,
if
right.
more people are
But
willing to
for
go through
Nintendo,
the
it makes
actual
sense.
site.
It's
Yeah.
the way to do it, and I do firmly believe that the reason that the Switch 2 got pushed off longer than we thought as far as release is because they were trying to build up stock to help combat this, because the
Yeah.
only way to combat it is to have the stock. If you've got enough stock, and people pick up 50 copies of it, and 50 consoles, but there's still a whole bunch of consoles out there that people can buy.
Yeah.
We've already fought it. Now people are sitting on those consoles that they can't sell and
And I
make
think it's
no
the
money
easiest
from.
way to, like, combat botting and stuff like that is to, either A, do some kinda queue system and probably, like, say, "Hey, for whatever site or who you're going through, especially if it's digital, you need to have an account," and it's, like, 1 per person, but there
Yeah.
it's I could see where it's a little bit you have to be a little bit more creative with third party with other retails, but the only other way some of these retails could avoid the botting issue is to be like, you have to buy it in person, and it's
What
1 per
I'll
person.
tell you what, one website, now I haven't gotten through for a single one of them, unfortunately, and I've signed up for every single one, but what I do like that Newegg is doing is they're doing their Newegg shuffle, so it gives everybody an equal opportunity to all sign up for the graphics card that they want, the GPU that they want. You go on there and you select which ones you're interested in, and it's a random raffle. It doesn't matter if you click the link first or you click the link last. It's like a 4-hour open window. You can sign up for this. You'll get an email saying, yes, you got through for this, or no, you didn't win this Newegg shuffle. And they've got them going on like every day, every other day. And like I like that system as well because it's completely random. It doesn't matter if you click the
Yeah,
link first and saw it first. It's
because
completely random. It's a
you
random
bring that up
draw.
that's, like, a unique way, like, how, like, a lot of, like, events or, like, especially, like, some conventions and stuff like that happen in Japan is they'll have a general sale, but before that, they might have, like, 1 or 2 essentially, guaranteed raffles. So sometimes it's easier. You can just create like 20 emails, but essentially it's a raffle system to see who gets first dibs at a guaranteed like ticket for like a convention or something else. Because that's
Yeah.
what like when I was in Japan at Hall Live and stuff like that. That's kind of how they did the first thing. It was they had two goes about essentially a raffle for their concerts and
Yeah.
the actual like expo type thing, and then after that it was a general sale, which sells out in a matter of minutes on
Yeah.
top of the sites going down, and it's kind of sold out. So it's like the only guaranteed way you're going to get anything is if you get in on this raffle. And it's also weird because they've got like a specific site outside of Japan, and they've got stuff for inside of Japan as well. So,
Yeah.
but
Very
it's a unique
interesting.
way
Very
to
interesting.
combat to give people. It's like, hey, we're gonna do a general raffle for X amount of tickets. If you get in, great. If not, you can try your hand at general admission, but it's probably going to sell out before you're able to even get through the whole
Well,
process.
even the way that they did the Switch to Experience stuff, how it was completely just like a raffle
Yeah,
and
that's a very
you had to
Japanese
have an
thing. The
ac
whole, gotcha system mechanics is, like, a very
yeah,
real thing.
like, you had to have an account, you had to be a member, and it was a complete, just draw raffle, everybody had the same amount of chances, so, like, I like that system, it feels more fair than,
I mean, as
just
fair as, like,
bot.
as many, emails you're willing to create for the
Well,
raffle, but
yeah. I mean, the thing with the Nintendo Switch 2 Experience stuff is that you had to
it's
have
tied to
a
your Nintendo account.
registered, yeah, you had to have had
But,
a
like, not
verified
everybody
registered.
has the ability to do something like that if it's not, like, a first party
Well,
thing or if
no,
you're
like,
doing different
your
events.
third party sellers, like your Walmarts and your Best Buys and your Targets aren't gonna be able to do it in the same
Well,
way,
I don't think they really
although
care either.
I don't
They
think
just
they
wanna sell
care,
units.
but it isn't that hard for them to get queue systems because now I know you haven't been following any of the stuff for the 50 series GPUs, but Best Buy now has a queue system as well. So you have to get queued up to get through on Best Buy for the GPUs.
At the
So
very least, like, let me know where I'm in the queue to be like, do I even have a
they don't
shot?
let you know. They don't let you
Which
know.
is so frustrating because 'cause you're like,
It
you have
is
no
really
idea.
frustrating
You could
because
be at number 5, you could be at 5,000, you have no idea.
you could be waiting for 15 minutes only for it to say sold out.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that sucks. But I will say is better than having these bots buy all this stuff up.
I
At
think the other
least
issue with the queue system is, I think they also do it because, like, if you have everybody going to the site, especially, like, probably a lot of bots, it bogs down and just crashes the site like a DDoS attack. So the queue system
right.
is kinda a way to limit the load that's happening on their actual main
But they
page.
do have a lot of these websites do have detection software now with a lot of these bots and are able to tell
Well, because you
when
can't
they're
tell
being
whether it's a bunch of
swarmed.
bots trying to buy something or you're just getting a general DDoS attack. It's as far as, like, the IT system, it all looks the same essentially because that's essentially what a DDoS attack is.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's getting better. It's definitely better than it was when the PS5 launched and the Series X launched.
Because the only reason I got
Well, I
lucky
say
is
that,
I got the invite from
and
Sony.
then
That's the only reason I got lucky with
this
the PS5.
GPU 50 series launch is the worst launch I've ever seen in the history of anything with pre-ordering or with just being able to freaking get one, right?
Yeah.
Even as expensive as they are, like it is still a problem. Like it does not matter. So I say it's gotten better. It has in some ways. I think Nintendo has gotten better about it. I think certain websites such as Best Buy has gotten better about it. But in general, I do think that there is still a big problem because this GPU launch has been an absolute nightmare for people. I mean, it has just been it's a crap show, man. It truly is a crap show. Like, it's insane that these bots are able to get through so much that they're literally selling these GPUs, and these are like sold prices, not asking prices, for like $4,500 on eBay, and people are paying it because they can't get through to order one, you know. But
Yeah.
GPU, as Mr. Coffee said, GPU sales have been an issue since I would say probably like the 30 series. Definitely don't remember much about there being a problem with like the 20 series, but I think around the 30 series is where it became a problem, but it really became a problem with the 40 series, the 4090 specifically. The 4090 I will say will probably go down as like the best video card that we've gotten in the last, 20 years. I think besides like the 1080 Ti, I think 1080 Ti and 4090 go down as being like some of the best, most improved upon GPUs, most worthwhile GPU. That's why still right now you go on eBay and they're still selling for $2,500 used. So there's
Yeah.
a reason for that because they're very good GPUs. So it's because of Mr. Coffee and a couple of other people that I decided not to just straight up right away sell my 4090. I want to hang on to it for a little while, make sure I'm good with the 5090, make sure that I don't have any problems with it, make sure I've got a backup for a little bit. I don't have any connector issues. I don't have any driver issues. I don't have any, whatever it might be. I'm going to hang on to it for a little while. Not going to hang on to it for good because they are still selling. It'll pay for essentially my entire price of my 5090 by selling the 4090. So I'm not going to hang on to it for good, but I'm going to hang on to it long enough to where I feel comfortable enough with the 5090 that I don't think there's going to be any problems and things like that. You never know what's going to come up when it comes to PC gaming. There can always be a problem. So you could just get a bad GPU,
Yeah.
it's just how it goes. So, but I guess before we move on to the next thing, I'll go ahead and show off what I got. Start off with something really, really small here that I got from GameStop. This is actually the other day. So go check your GameStops. These are really cool if you are a Pokemon fan or a Xenoblade fan. Definitely, you have to ask. They're behind the counter. They're not displayed, so people don't even know these exist. I posted on Twitter, and people are like, "That's a thing." But there's actually a card for Xenoblade Chronicles X. It gets you a whole pack of stuff. So it's a download code that you can get free there at GameStop that comes with a bunch of stuff. And then obviously they do these all the time, but this is for Pokemon Day 2025. It is a few months old, but I got a second one just to add to the collection. One I used for my game, and then one I'm going to keep unscratched just to add to the collection. But it's the Flying Terra type Eevee. So it's a pretty good card too. But yeah, I mean, if you got Xenoblade Chronicles X, absolutely ask for this because you get a whole pack of stuff plus 100,000 credits in the game, which is crazy. And it's free,
I say
so
joke's on you. I already got my flying Pikachu.
no, Flying Eevee, Mark.
Yeah, but I got a flying Pikachu. It's just
You can have a Flying Eevee too, Mark.
Nah, I'm good.
Okay.
Eevee's trash.
But you did pick up Xenoblade Chronicles X, so when you go back in there, make sure
I
you
think I
ask
got that
for
because I
this.
don't know if that was part of the pre-order originally, and they just
It
had extra
wasn't
copies come out.
it wasn't a pre-order thing. It was just you had to
I'll have
ask
double
for
check.
it.
Mine's still in the back of my game. My game's still
Make
sealed.
sure you ask for this and put it in before it expires because you get a lot of stuff from this and it's free. So
What you're not in charge for it?
it comes with 4 different sets of things, the support package plus 100,000 credits, which is quite a bit for the game. So definitely ask for that for sure. All right, so I got this cool nifty little bag today at at GameStop. Try not to crunch it up against the mic, but this is
Oh yeah, my GameStop's like, hey, we got a bunch of these we have to get rid of by like within like a few days. Yeah, they're like trying to like get rid of those
They
bags.
just showed it to me. I've never even seen it before until today.
I don't know if they were using it, but because I was at my GameStop the other day, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like we got a bunch of these bags we have to get rid of by X amount of
I
days. We either
asked
got to use
for
them or throw them in the trash."
I asked for one to keep to put in the collection. Just
That's
that
crazy because
one.
there's another dude I was in the store. He's like, "I'll take a bunch of them." He gave me like probably like 50 bags. He's like, "You're taking like I
I'm
don't
gonna
need them."
ask for more when I go back in because I like them. But they also gave me this one that I didn't use. That was folded up. It's a Spider-Man 2 bag. This is an older one, obviously, and I do actually already have a couple of these. But he said, "Hey, do you want this too?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll take another one. Why not?" You know, they're cool bags. They cool collection pieces. So I'm a collector, so I gotta get my bags.
Gotta get, gotta catch them all.
I got so I don't know if you guys remember or not, but I did show this off on social media and on the podcast. But when Silent Hill Remake launched, they came out with these grip sets, and each store only got like 2 to 4 of them. Well, for some reason, I bought a set of them. They're $15 at launch. For some reason, they had one of these just hanging up that were not sold. And I like looked at it because I was thinking about getting another one. I use them, so I wasn't just keeping it as like a collection piece. I actually use them. They're on my controllers. But I looked at the back of it, and they're limited edition. They're not being made anymore because like the game's not new. But I looked at the back of it, $5. They were $5. So I was like, yeah, oh, absolutely grab those. I don't know if you know anything about controller grips, but the thumbstick grips, but they're not cheap. Like normally $15 for one set of grips for a controller
That is
from like
crazy.
Control Freak or like because I got them on all mine. Like I'll show you. I put them on all of my controllers, every single one of them. Like right here, I have Control Freak. These are from like 2020. I've had these forever, and I've even got an OtterBox case for my. This is an actual OtterBox case for Xbox controllers. I own a couple of these too. They were like $15 when they came out or something, but they just make your controller way more comfortable.
Did you say
Um,
OtterBox?
OtterBox, yeah, it's
Oh
the
my! Like
craziest
those are
thing. It's the
like I use that for
craziest
my.
thing.
That's like they make phone cases. That's what
Yeah,
like my. And they're not cheap phone cases.
they're not well, these aren't cheap either. This feels like these are high quality. Like they make the controller feel even more premium than they already are. Like they're really cool. For some
Yeah, because
reason they
it's
only
I've
make it
always used
for
them
Xbox.
for like the back of my phone, the
Yeah,
OtterBox stuff.
exactly. For some reason they only make them for Xbox Series X controllers, but they're really good. Like they have these grips here that just make it feel super comfortable in your hand. Plus it protects your controller like for instance, like a controller like this, the see-through blue one that I wanted to protect. I wanted to make sure that I got the caps on there to protect the thumbsticks and put this on there to protect the controller because I know like eventually down the road this will be valuable and plus it'll just be a controller I'll want to be able to use for an extended period of time. I really like their Cypher series of see-through controllers, so
Yeah.
definitely pretty cool there. But yeah, I mean, $5 for this. I mean, still, you get 3 of them too. So, 3 sets of them, really, really cool, and they're comfortable. I got them on several of my controllers already, so definitely cool.
Can't
And
go wrong.
got this for free. He just said, I said, hey, you got any promo stuff that you're going to be throwing away because they're closing down and stuff like that. He's like, well, we can't even sell this because we can't even sell it because it's not worth anything. But they just threw it in for free, Madden 2005 for the original Xbox. But it's
So
complete.
close.
Complete. What's hilarious about this though is that on the front it says $10. But yeah, they said it was so low, it was priced so low in their system that they couldn't even sell it. So he just handed it to me. I'm like, sure,
Because
I'll
it's
take
I
it.
mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty much a worthless game.
But what's funny
Sports games
is
are like a dime a
I
dozen.
have a ton of Madden games for the original Xbox and PS2, and this is one I didn't have. So I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll take it. It's free.
That's the one for the collection.
Yeah, one for the collection. Why not? And then that's all I got in that bag for this
And it
stuff
was
here.
free, so can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, it's free. I mean, if nothing else, for people that don't collect sports games, you get a free case to swap out for, a game that needs a case or whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. We got some stuff in from Crix. A few things here. There. are a few things I don't have over here at the moment because I've got them put over there. So there was a few other things that came as well that I don't have that I can show right now. But Crix makes the EverDrives and also some other accessories. They are my favorite retro video game company. Period. I think EverDrives are the best value in retro gaming. Just par none. It's my favorite retro gaming company. Period. I just think that the EverDrives and stuff they make is just absolutely excellent. They put out nothing but quality stuff. So was definitely super happy to get another package from them. But I got a this is the second one because I own two Sega Master Systems, so I've got one for each. But this is a clear. I haven't opened it up out of the package yet, but it's a clear,
Yeah.
see-through Master EverDrive X7. It's actually smoke clear, so like you can see through the whole cartridge. Obviously, it's got the protective stuff on it still because I haven't taken it out to use it yet. But it is a clear cartridge, so it's really really cool. Bigger Sega Master System fan, so I was really excited about that. Always good to have another one. Since I've got a Model 1 and Model 2, I've got an EverDrive for both of them now, so I don't even have to worry about taking them out anymore. And then I'll just show one of these. I did get two of these. These are the Crix Joys controllers. So these controllers are wireless Sega Genesis controllers that work on original hardware. Really, really cool. I've got a few of these now. I absolutely love them. It's how I play my Sega Genesis on any of the Sega Genesis consoles that I have. But it is a 6 button. It is a replication of the 6 button fighting style controller. So it's got the 6 buttons there and very clicky, very nice controller. I really like the Joy's controllers. I don't hear people talk about these controllers like much at all. So I'm super happy to be able to showcase these because I think they're excellent. They're budget friendly controllers. They're cheap and they do the job. I mean, they really are pretty good controllers, and especially for being wireless and 6 button controllers, you just can't go wrong. I think they're like 15-20 bucks, or very affordable. And if you're a Sega Genesis fan, those are, I think, must have for any Sega Genesis fan. So um, those are those from Crix.
And none you can't go wrong there. It is definitely really dope.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we got another box here. So I guess I'll go through with some of these. So first, this came in. This was on back order. I ordered it about 3 or 4 months ago. It was on back order for the GameCube. It was one of the last three things that I need for the ultimate GameCube setup that I'm working on, and that
Yeah.
is the MemCard Pro GC. So, if you don't know what the MemCard Pros are, they are essentially the last memory card that you will ever need for a console. So, the way they work is that you can put an SD card in, and obviously, you remember how the blocks work on like GameCube memory cards, right? Like, you could get like a 256 block card, right? Which at the end of the day actually really didn't hold as much as you think it would. Well, you can throw in like a 64 gigabyte micro SD card in this, and you are good forever. I mean, that covers every single GameCube game multiple times over with multiple saves. You know what I mean? So you,
Yeah.
you plug the SD card into this, and let me actually grab the unit because I put it in my GameCube.
So you gotta run and grab it real quick.
But yeah, they're
GameCube was
really.
such a good system with such good games on it.
What was that?
So the GameCube was such a good system with some really good first party games on it.
Oh yeah, I wish I could bring over the GameCube to show you right now because I'm almost finished with the ultimate setup for it. I got two more items now since this came that I need for it. But this is the MemCard Pro GC. It's got a screen on it, multiple buttons, so you can actually go through the memory card and select your different blocks and stuff on there. But I also have the MemCard Pro 2s for the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1. I have one of each. I've got one for my PS2 and one for my PS1. So I'm a big fan of 8-bit mods and the products that they put out. Like this is well worth the price. You'll never need another GameCube memory card ever again. They even advertise it as unlimited blocks because it's as big of an SD card as you want to put in. And if you know the GameCube, they really don't take up that much blocks. So a micro SD card versus a 256 block card for the GameCube is like uncomparable. Like you could fit every single game in the entire library multiple times over on one of these, and you would never need another memory card again. So this is a really, really cool item. I still got to set it up, get an SD card for it, but it's Wi-Fi enabled and everything, so that you can actually save your saves on your desktop computer as well. So you've got like a backup of a backup. You know what I mean? So like you can save
Yeah.
your saves forever. Like those saves you can have with you forever. You can save them multiple ways. And I've already got like a bunch of stuff backed up on my PS2 Mem Card Pro 2. But yeah, you can have like the cloud saves where you can access all of these in the cloud and have your save for the rest of your life. So it's a really, really neat thing. I want to say it's around $50, and it is well worth the price of it. I mean, the technology in this thing is just phenomenal. So this was one of the last things I needed for the ultimate setup. I've got two more items I need to get that done, and then I can finally film that video. That is a video that's basically been in the process of making for almost 3 years, because I've had to track down all the different accessories for it. And as you know, I was tracking down like the wacky stuff and the
Not
over
the
the
easiest
top.
thing.
Yeah, not the easiest thing. Like the speakers took a long, long, long time to find. Those were not an easy find at all. So, but yeah, so this is one of the things, and I guess one of them that I share because people openly know that I am looking for it. So if you know anybody that has one, or you're getting rid of one, get in contact with me, because I've been looking for it now for years. But I'm looking for the GameCube keyboard controller that was made for Fantasy Star Online. But that is one of the wacky accessories I need for the GameCube to help finish off the set and to be able to make this video, because it's a long time coming on this video, and I'm doing it for every single retro console, so not just for GameCube. It just happens to be that I am the closest to being done with GameCube, and it's what I started first. So just because I'm so passionate about the GameCube, I love that system so much. There's so many good games for it. It's such a great console. I love the GameCube so much. It was the first system that I wanted to do that for, just because I love it. It's like one of the systems I go back to the most. So yeah, this was really cool. I think I ordered this like 4 or 5 months ago, and it finally came in. It was on back order. My one regret is not ordering more than one of these. I should have ordered two, because I'm getting another GameCube to do the other mod that came in a while ago, the flippy drive. So I'm going to have two GameCubes to use, and that's one I'm going to do myself. It's a mod I'm going to do myself because it's very user friendly, and anybody can do it essentially. But I do wish I had ordered one more. So if they happen to come back in stock, I will pick up one more of these. Just like I picked up two of the Memcard Pro 2s, one for the PS1, one for the PS2. So definitely cool, and it matches my Indigo GameCube. So that's pretty cool.
Can't go wrong with that. Or any of that, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything for the ultimate GameCube experience, which just means I need to spend all this money so you can play Phantasy Star Online.
And I do play it. I play it on Dreamcast and GameCube. And now Xbox, because I've got my Xbox hooked up online at all times.
But obviously, the GameCube's the superior experience.
It is, because it got all so there's a version of Phantasy Star episode 1 and 2 plus that has all the additional content on it. So like, technically speaking, it's the best way to play out of the Xbox or Dreamcast, just because you have that extra content, but it's also a much more expensive game, much more rare and harder to find that plus version. But then I got this other box of stuff, which was stuff I completely even forgot was coming out. And this all goes towards ultimate setups for other consoles as well. So this is really, really, really cool. Super happy about this. So one of these will actually go to the GameCube setup. I do already have all 4 controller ports filled, because that was part of the plan, was have 4 controllers connected that are wireless. But I'm going to remove one of them, and I'm going to add this bad boy in. So this was sent out to me from Retro Time. This is from 8-Bit Mods, and this is the Blue Retro GameCube adapter. So what this is you plug this in there. It's Bluetooth. You can use any Bluetooth controller with your GameCube that you want. So whatever you want to play it with, whether it be a PS5 DualSense or a wireless N64 controller, whatever you might want to play it with, you can play with this. It's really cool because there's a lot of people that want to bring over things like different fighting sticks or things like the Xbox controller and stuff like that. But yeah, so this is a really cool adapter that allows you to plug into your original GameCube console and then bring over whatever Bluetooth controller that you want to bring over. Um, Definitely a really cool piece. This one came in orange. I don't know what Mark's doing. He's Mark Boat
Oh.
goes Bented.
Boat goes Binted.
I'm confused.
Any GG fans out there? If you know, you know.
Like Guilty Gear?
No, it's VTuber.
Oh my god.
That's why I said if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. But yeah, this is really cool. So, speaking of that, this is the GameCube version of that from Blue Retro. Retro Time / 8-bit mods also sent out 2 Nintendo 64. So this is really good timing with this because we obviously know about the analog 3D coming out. And so this will be perfect for that because I'll have all the controller slots for that all filled up as well. But they sent out 2 different collared Nintendo 64 and 64 controller adapters as well. So you can bring over your Bluetooth. What's actually really cool about these 2, Mark, is that what people actually do with these 2 to still play with an original controller is they buy the Nintendo Switch Online N64 controller that's Bluetooth, and they connect it to this to have a wireless original controller. So it's actually a pretty great idea, right? So I'm actually thinking about ordering a couple of extra of those. So I have a couple of wireless 64 controllers that I can play, how it was originally intended, but wireless and not have to worry about the wires. But that was really cool that they sent 2 of these out for the 64. And they also sent out one for the Sega Dreamcast, which is really cool too. So got one for the Sega Dreamcast, and really excited about all these, being able to try them out, bring over weird controllers that were never made for the system to try out, or like different fighting sticks or different fight pads or different arcade sticks, whatever it might be, anything that's Bluetooth you can bring over and attach to this. So there's a lot of options out there. I know people that use Bluetooth keyboards because Phantasy Star Online for the Sega Dreamcast, they had obviously had a keyboard. I've got a Sega Dreamcast.
I don't think they make those old keyboard connectors anymore. It's all USB or Bluetooth. You don't talk about the circle connector that was
the
like
PS2. Yeah,
whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's PS2 adapter. But yeah, no. So there's a lot of stuff people bring over Bluetooth keyboards, for games like that, and stuff like Typing of the Dead, or whether it be Phantasy Star Online or different games that require a keyboard and stuff like that. And so I've also got two more really, really cool things here. So these go towards my Ultimate NES setup, and this is the NES hub from Retro Time. So you might ask, what is the NES hub? Well, in case you didn't know, on the bottom of your NES, there is this slot area that was never used for anything because we never got anything here to use it with, right? Because the Famicom got the Famicom disk system and obviously got the Satellaview, but we didn't get anything over here where they planned to, leave a slot open, and nothing ever came out. Well, this NES hub, my NES is plugged up, so I can't bring it over here to show you. But basically, on the back of it, there's the adapter port where they would have added something, right? For, an expansion, whatever it might be, like the Famicom disk system idea or the Satellaview. This plugs right into that and fits discreetly right on the bottom of your NES. And this does a bunch of things. So, like, I can't even remember everything that this does, to be honest with you. I know that this brings over, you can use this adds Bluetooth to your NES, which is pretty crazy. So Bluetooth capabilities. This adds, let me look up to make sure I say everything correctly, because I know it adds quite a bit of functionality. It's pretty crazy what people are doing with this retro hardware in 2025. It's really really cool stuff, and to be able to see is, I know that one of the things is it adds the expansion audio, so you can get stereo audio like the Famicom could do. The NES is notorious, obviously, for having the mono audio and not having like good audio. So this brings over that Famicom stereo audio to your NES, so you can hear the glorious soundtrack the way it really should have sounded to begin with. But looking on here to tell you everything that this does. So this obviously only works on the NES 001, so the original NES, not the NES Junior or anything like that. But so what this does is you're able to connect up to 4 controllers on the console through the use of a single hub hidden away under the console. Not only that, but you can still use the original ports simultaneously for sharing inputs on a single player game. The NES Hub can enable expansion audio, a special mode that allows some Famicom games to use more audio channel for a better audio experience. Finally, it exposes 3 ports for future add-ons that can make use of the CPU, controller, or other functionality. For example, our first available add-on, SNES add-on, allows you to connect your original SNES wired controllers, play your NES games with them. So obviously, a lot of people prefer this, myself included, the Super Nintendo controllers over the NES controllers. And what they actually included in here was one of the attachments that they planned for the NES Hub, which was this here. I'll open it up here. So what this did was this is one of the expansion ports that they said that they were going to be adding future stuff for. It allows you to play your NES with Super Nintendo controllers because, I mean, let's be real, they're superior controllers. You know, I like the NES controller, but I like the Super Nintendo controller a lot more. But this is one of the expansions that they added for the NES Hub that lets you play with Super Nintendo controllers. So
Yeah.
that's really, really cool. But that was one of the things. And there are also future ideas that they have for this NES Hub to be like kind of an all in one hub to add different mods to the NES without actually even having to mod your system. It's literally plug and play. Um, so also it looks like there is web config is only available if no controller is connected, supported only in Chrome browser. You can update the firmware via web config, which is pretty cool. And then it says for the add-ons, if you want to use an add-on, connect it to the corresponding add-on port on the NES Hub with the provided cable. The control add-on allows use of SNES controllers on the NES. Additionally, Famicom peripherals that use the 15-pin Famicom expansion. So on the side of this actually has the Famicom expansion port right on the side of it too. So not only does it add the functionality for the Super Nintendo controllers, but also the Famicom expansion port right here. Mark, if you pay attention,
Yeah.
just
No, I
ignore
was
it.
trying to do the
I'm
2
just
things at
over
the
here
same time.
riffing. I don't even know what's going on. Oh man, but yeah. So that
You
they
were just going on a roll or something like that, so I was letting you go.
over there on the hub, aren't you?
You wish.
All right. So the last things that we got. So my buddy Matt Long, he's got a YouTube channel. He's been on the podcast before. Mark has met him, but he went out to a convention that I wanted to go to but didn't get to go to because my grandma passed away, unfortunately, and funeral was that day. So he did message me and asked if I was interested in a few things there. So I sent him some money to pick up a couple of things, and I was actually shocked to see what he found for one of them. Now I already have this, as Mark knows. I used it as one of my computer monitors for a very long time,
Forever.
for forever, and I still have it boxed up in my closet now to keep for 3D games on the PS3. But I wanted to get another one, and I got this grandmaster plan. I want to collect a few of these complete in box because I've got an idea in the future of what I want to do with these. I think they are absolutely phenomenal products You have to think these came out in like 2012. They're 240 hertz monitors. They're 3D with simultaneous 3D technology. So each person sees the full screen in 3D versus doing a half and half deal, which is crazy, already crazy technology to think. If you think about it for the time, like that's nuts. And I'm a big fan of 3D video games. I've collected a bunch of 3D PS3 and Xbox 360 games. So I'm a big fan of them. I like playing them in 3D. I don't think it's gimmicky at all. I think a lot of them do it very well. And a lot of people don't even know about them. A lot of people don't even know that the PS3 and 360 had 3D video games. But yeah, so right here behind me, I'll pick it up and show you guys.
Yeah, because he had that for what, for forever. It's crazy you're still using that old of a monitor for that long. It's a thick boy right there.
That is my second one. So right now, my plan for it right now is what I'm going to do is leave one out of the box and leave one in the box because I have a future plan. I would like to get two more of these, preferably complete in box if possible. But even if they're loose, I want to get two more of these because I'm working on a future project. It's something that I have had planned out that I've wanted to do for a very long time. I don't want to announce it right now, but it is a project for the community, and it's not about me. It's about the community and about other people and about video game preservation. But I would like to get two more of these to have set up for a certain thing that I want to do. So I want to showcase because most people don't know that your 360 could play 3D games. Like, how many people do you know that do that, right?
I think people
So
probably cared, to be fair.
and a lot of them play 3D. A lot of PS3 and 360 games play in 3D and are actually very, very good. I mean, like surprisingly really awesome. Like the Arkham games, for instance, those played in 3D. Really good games in 3D. Like a lot of fun. So my goal would be ultimately to get two more of these. I would like to get two more. But one of these I'm going to leave out so I can play the 3D games for myself and I don't have to keep taking it in and out of the box and stuff like that. One I'm going to leave in the box. The one downfall of this, so I paid so pretty good deal on it. Got a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Talked him down to 150 on it. It's in the box, right? Like 150 for a loose one is even a good deal. The one downfall to this is that it did not come in with the pack-in game, and the most unfortunate part is it did not come with any of the 3D glasses. But thankfully, I've got multiple of the 3D glasses. I bought a bunch of them at a convention years ago for when I eventually found one of these before I even had one of the monitors. I bought like 4 or 5 of them, and I actually have a prototype pair of the 3D glasses too that plug in USB, that developers used, and is a pretty cool piece of history that I have. But what I need to get is the pack-in MotorStorm Apocalypse game that I just want to put in the package. Like I've already got it for the other one, but I want to have this complete. I just want it to be complete in box. So I'm going to try
Yeah.
to find that not for resale copy. It's probably going to be a pain to find because it's a specific copy that was made for this particular pack in. Like the game was released by itself, but there's a not for resale copy just for this package. So I'm going to try to find that. I imagine it's not going to be expensive or anything. It's just going to be tracking it down. It's probably going to be the pain in the butt. But yeah, that was like the one of my big things for the week. I mean, absolutely flabbergasted that I was able to find another one of them. And for the deal I did, it is unfortunate it didn't come with the other stuff that, was included in the box. But at the end of the day, I found one. Again, I knew that I wanted to get multiple of them, and I knew I wanted to have one set up at all times and one to leave in the package to preserve and to,
Yeah.
not to get scratches on the screen and things like that to make sure I have a backup because they are prone to having some problems. Doesn't the Sony 3D DVD player sound system 3D glass compatible with the PlayStation 3D TV? Oh yeah, yeah, it is the sound system. So there is a actually, I don't have this, but I am after it. It only came out in Japan, but there is a PlayStation 3 sound bar that came out for this TV to get 3D spatial audio while you're playing your 3D games. So it's like trying to immerse you into the ecosystem of playing it. It only came out in Japan, did not come out here. As far as I'm aware, I think it came out in Japan, and I think it came out in Europe. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that we did not get it here at all. But I have seen one in person. I know someone that was able to get one off of AliExpress, and then I've seen another collector that was local here had one at one point. I missed him. He sold it. I missed him selling it, or I would have picked it up. But that is one of the things I'm after. So if you do have any leads on that PlayStation 3D soundbar, I would love to buy that. That's something I've been after for many years since I found out about it, because that immerses you even more into the experience and kind of what they were going for. Like, you think about it, it was really ahead of its time, stuff like
Yeah,
that. It was just, that was very ahead of its time. But yeah, that's one thing I am looking for, is that PS3 sound bar. So hopefully I do find that at some point.
sure you will eventually.
And the last things I got to show off are a mixture of one I bought the other day because I needed it for the Call of Duty collection. One I got today, and then the other ones Matt bought me at the show. Well, he picked them up for me. I paid him. So the first one that I bought was, sorry, this is kind of funny. This might sound redonkulous when I show you guys these, because I own these games multiple times over now. I already had it for the 360. I needed it for the PS3 still, right? So I got the
Yeah,
PS3 version. When I said I'm going all in on this, I'm going for every version of every release that I can possibly get. So pick that up. Modern Warfare 2 for the PS3. Nothing big, right? Well, then Matt found this. So I had picked this up prior. I still would have got this anyway, because this is technically a different release, so it wouldn't have
yeah.
counted towards a set. But I mean, it counts towards a set, but it's a separate release, so I would have gotten it regardless. This is the Call of Duty Modern Warfare collection that includes 1 and 2 on PS3. So I own them by themselves, both 1 and 2 on PS3, but I also own them in this cool collection that came out. This was pretty neat too. I actually didn't know about this one. I knew about the Black Ops one. What is unfortunate, however, is that, or no, it's not this one. No, I do have both the games for this one. So you got both of them in there. This was a pretty cool release. I don't know exactly why this is a not for resale copy. If anybody knows, please let me know in the chat. I would like to find out the story behind that, what it was a pack in for, and why it's a not for resale copy. It's very peculiar and very interesting. Might have to look into it myself and figure that out, because I always like to find out that kind of info. But it is
There's
not
like a collector's edition of a console that they packed it in with.
right. I'm wondering if it was either that or yeah, I'm assuming probably that, because I actually had not seen this particular one before, so this was pretty cool to see. And yeah, so that's another one to check off the list. But just like that one, this one isn't a not for resale copy, but this is a 3D compatible game, which is pretty cool. And that is Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2 for the PS3 combo pack. I did know about this one. So I remember seeing this one in stores back in the day. You get a free $15 DLC pack value with it as well. Pretty cool. What is very unfortunate about this is I did not look at this until today, because I just trusted, you know. It only included Black Ops 1. There is no Black Ops 2.
You're missing the disc.
I'm missing the disc. So I believe that this is just a standard copy of the game. So if I can just find a loose disc online, as far as I'm aware, there's nothing different about this release, because it does not say it's a not for resale copy. The disc for Black Ops 1 doesn't say anything special. It's the same as the other one. Looks exactly the same. So I think for this one, I'm missing probably just the insert and then the disc too. So I think I can buy a loose disc and put it in there, and I'll be okay. Thankfully, this one is not for resale, from my understanding, because I was like, but thankfully it's not the Modern Warfare Collection one, because then that would have sucked. That's a not for resale copy. It would have been a lot harder to track down.
The
Um,
disc, yeah.
but
Probably more
man, that
expensive
was
too.
kind of a bummer to see that it wasn't in there, and I was like, man. But I picked up. He also picked up these two for me at the convention, and so I technically have all three versions of this game now, except one of them I don't have the case and manual for, so I still need to get that for the Xbox. But that is one of my favorite Call of Duties ever. It's not my favorite, but it's among my favorites, in my top three. That is Call of Duty 2 Big Red 1, which was a spinoff of Call of Duty 2 for console. And yeah, so I got it for PlayStation 2 and GameCube. This is my first GameCube Call of Duty game. There's a few of them that came out for GameCube. This is my first one that I have. So I'm really excited about that. And I can't wait to get all of them. I'm super pumped to pick those up. But yeah, I mean, it was always cool seeing Call of Duty on Nintendo consoles. As you know, like the Wii got a few games as well. The DS got a few games as well. So the not for resale version is missing the slipcover. Oh, that I'm never going to find that.
Yeah,
I'm
you might as well just assume it doesn't exist anymore at
I'm
this point,
never
probably.
going to find that. I'm never going to find just the slipcover for a like unknown game that most people do not even know exists as a pack. Dang it, Mr. Coffee.
Just yeah,
You should have just not told me.
just rained on your parade. Like, hey, well, technically, you're missing this
I
thing.
will never find just the slipcover, I'm telling you.
Actually,
It would be cool if we did find it. But what was also pretty interesting, I don't know if you knew this, but what was really peculiar about these particular releases, the Xbox version is like the PS2 version as well, but the PS2 and Xbox version actually had online multiplayer for it, and the GameCube version only had single player and local co-op. So that was something super interesting, considering the GameCube could technically go online with the broadband adapter. They opted to not do that on the GameCube for some reason, but the Xbox and the PS2 version are online playable, and you can still play them today. There are ways to get in and still be able to play these games online today, so it's really cool.
there you
And
go.
then my last thing, I found this today when I stopped at GameStop and found out that they were closing down. Was this is my fourth version of owning this game. Still missing one more, and that is Call of Duty 3 for the PS2. Also, an online game. You play it, and funny enough, I had this back in the day on the PS2, and I played it online on the PS2. We had to actually go into our computer room, hook it up to the phone line, so disconnect the phone line to be able to play the Ethernet
Back in the
online
day.
back in the day. So that means it tied up the phone and all that stuff, but we
No,
did
someone
it.
answered the phone. It kicked me off the internet.
Exactly, that's what would happen. But no, I was actually really surprised to see this there, because my GameStop unfortunately has not really been getting in any of the retro stuff like yours does. Like very seldomly gets anything in at all.
Like they always have like a lot of DS stuff, PS3,
See, mine
Xbox
doesn't.
360.
Mine doesn't. It's crazy. There's a few Xbox 360, none that I needed. There's a couple of
They even have a few
PS2.
like 64 and SNES and NES
See, mine has
periodically.
none of those. No NES, no SNES, no 64. It's got some DS games, a couple 3DS games. That's it. It doesn't even have Vita games, for God's sake. So, but here's the unfortunate part about this, and I did not. This is why I've got to look at these things closer before I buy them. I did not see this until I already walked out of the store and looked at it at home. And the entire front cover of the game is cut in like this. It's let me see if I can show it a little bit closer. It's pretty bad. Like, it might not look as bad on camera, but it's pretty bad. It's got a gigantic rip right through the cover art.
Oh, you loved it. Like someone just stabbed a knife into it.
It's like, how did you even do that? And I'm like, I highly doubt I'm going to find just a cover art. I paid like $6. I used my $5 reward, so I paid like $1 something for this. So more than likely, what's going to end up happening is I'm just going to have to end up rebuying it, and I essentially bought this for no reason because I'm sorry for the complete collection. I don't want a bunch of garbage, looking games for this because I would like to do something with this collection one day because there is nobody else out there right now who is going for or has a complete Call of Duty collection. I'm talking going after everything, the Engage game. I'm going after the PSP game, the Vita game, all the DS game. I'm going after everything, all the PC physical releases, everything.
Definitely start a
So
museum.
well, that's kind of the plan is what I'm sort of doing here is wanting to do some things that people haven't done. And how many people out there do you know that care to collect every single physical release of Call of Duty? Like there's like some people are going to be like, yeah, I want to get every single one of them, like every game, but I don't want to have three versions of the game on three different consoles and have like just ridiculous stuff. Like for instance, the latest one, Modern Warfare 3 for the PS5 and stuff like that. I've got on PS5, right? Well,
Yeah.
I need it for Xbox Series X as well, but I'm not going to pay $60 for it when I already have it on PS5. So for me, that'll be one that I'll buy when it drops significantly down because I already own it. I already play it on that console. And there's no reason for me. I'm not going to drop another $60 on the game. I'm not going to play that version because I've already put enough time in the PS5 game that for me, it just doesn't make sense. But I'll buy it when there's a deal or a sale or it drops significantly down, whether it takes years or not for me to eventually grab it. That's one where I would not want to pay more than $20 for it tops, and I don't even want to pay that because I've already got the game, the version I'm playing, and I'm just not playing that version. So, but I
Yeah.
do want to go for the full set, like I said, and sticking to my word. And that's all the pickups there, man. I know it's quite a bit more than I thought that was going to be, but a lot of stuff came and a lot of things happened. So that is all
Phrasing.
my pickups. So yeah, go ahead and jump into the news, Mark. Get us running here because my voice is killing me.
I was about to say that you just went for like 40 minutes, so
I should not have did that, but
I was like, oh wow, I guess he's gonna keep going. We did get some update because I know we talked about this a little bit a while ago. We don't know exactly what's happening, but Pokemon, like, surprisingly and not surprisingly, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are getting some kind of free update for the Switch 2, but we don't know anything more than that. Other than it's getting some kind of update, but
Scarlet
no idea what
Violet
it's into.
is.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
So hopefully it's a performance issue, but nothing's been confirmed other than it's getting a update of some kind. So hopefully it'll be at least fixing the performance issues because God, that game drops frame rates so bad consistently.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I was like, of all the games that you're remastering for the Switch 2, you're not remastering the game that needs it the most.
Yeah, like Game Freak, what are you doing? Like your game, like this game performs like absolute
Like I'm not
ass
I'm
on
not going to defend them
on the
and
Switch.
saying that they dropped the ball on that game with performance, but I do enjoy the game. So if I could play a better version of those games that run better, at the end of the day, the games themselves are very good. They're more Pokemon, right? And there's more to do.
Kind of.
But
I don't know. I think it's one of the, I don't know.
but
I
they
think
have a lot of
it's
performance issues.
Arceus far and above is number one, and everything else is a distant whatever. It's not even close, but that's like a personal opinion. I
So
just
like
wasn't a big
so
fan of
you
it, even
don't
without
think they're good games even without the performance issues is what
even
you're
without the
saying?
performance. A lot of the map just feels open and empty. And it's hard, like, especially, like, if you're trying to catch a lot of Pokemon, like, it's just there's a lot that you can run into issues and stuff like that with. I mean, some of those Pokemon are just tiny, and I don't know. I thought that the world was. It's not that it wasn't open. It's just that at times there's just massive parts of the maps that just feel like there's not a lot to do other than you're running around an area looking for a Pokemon to spawn. So, but that was like that's like a personal thing.
I don't know.
Um,
I had no problems with the games themselves. It was just the performance issues. I think the
like, I don't
games are
mind
really good.
massive open worlds, but, like, I feel like there needs to be more to do. It's also really hard to miss trainer battles,
Well, to
but it's
be
also
fair,
really
it's their
easy to get
first
massively over leveled in that game.
it's Game Freak's first attempt at open world, so, I mean, I feel like
Arguably
that's
their
going
second.
Arceus was not open world. That was
Quasi open world, but, like, come on, like, open worlds have been a thing for over a day, like, 2 decades now they've been relevant.
yeah, but, I mean, it's their first, like, period with any games that they've
I think
done.
that's I don't know, I'll be critical of them because they have the finances and the money to have done it right the first time, and I just
Yeah,
feel
I'm
like they
not
didn't do it right.
defending that the games have problems, but I think the games are fun. I have fun with them. I
I don't know,
enjoy them.
it's one of the
You
ones I
even
didn't
sent
realize I
me a
cared
guide
for.
of the games, so I was like, "Oh, Mark does like
Yeah,
these
I
games."
did, but it's one of my least favorite Pokemon games that I played
I
in recent
think,
memory.
so I semi agree with you. I think that Sun and Moon are weaker games than Scarlet and Violet, though. If it weren't for the performance problems, like the games
I think
themselves,
it's
as far as
close.
the story and what you do in the game, I think Sun
I
and
preferred
Moon.
the story of Sun and Moon over the one in Scarlet and
See, I
Violet,
don't. I
like,
think the story was
I
very, very weak in those
sorry.
games.
Oh, I was bullied, I'm gonna be a bully was such a weak storyline, to be fair.
But
I don't
I
know, I just feel
mean,
like they didn't even do it well.
well, thank God they're going to update the games and not just leave them as be because,
Yeah.
I mean, it is Pokemon and it is deserving of giving
Oh,
the respect it
you can't
needs.
even rebattle the Final Four, that's not a thing in this game.
Yeah, there is some weird decision making that they did with the
Oh,
game.
it's some quasi tournament. I'm like, I get, but I hate it
The
because
Ace
of the way
tournament.
the tournament works. Because what you used to do with the Final Four is you'd be able to
I
go
will
back
say
into your
this.
menu uh between each gym leader. Now you have to do 4 fights straight.
Yeah,
So, like,
it's
if you're
not that
trying to
hard,
use
Mark.
the Final Four to, like, level up Pokemon or to level them up to evolve and swap them out for, like, a living deck or something like that, you can't do it because you're just stuck with your party through 4 straight fights. You get the auto heal, but you can't, like, swap out Pokemon as they evolve and stuff like that, so you can't
I will
necessarily
say
use that to, like, speed
one
up the
thing in
process.
the defense of the game, since you haven't played it, is that the DLC for the games is excellent, and in my opinion, is better than the main story of the base game.
That's a problem. That's the same thing with Borderlands, where it's like, so you know how to make a good game and a good story. Why is this not how you did the main story? Like, why is this
I
subpar
mean, it's
to the
not.
DLC?
I don't know. I can't really speak to that, but I do know that they're worth owning and they're fun. The DLC was really fun. I didn't want it to end, so like
I mean, you
I
need to, I
caught
mean, I know
myself really getting into it.
they added a lot of Pokemon. I didn't care
Yeah,
for the fact that there's a whole new Pokédex for the area. I get why it's there, but it's also kind of
yeah,
frustrating,
yeah. It is a
especially
little
if you're
frustrating.
going for like a living dex type thing in game or something like that. It's like, oh, okay, now I'm like all over the place.
But
But
you need to get over this absolute disdain towards these games if you're trying to do a living
that's
dex.
never gonna. I'm just gonna have to force myself to play it and be like, I'm never touching this again once I got what I need for my living dex.
But I
Is
will
what's gonna
say
happen.
that is good news that they are going to be working on those games with Switch 2. That's good news. So we can
Yeah.
move on from that.
Like they definitely need it, as well as the Pokemon's TCG Pocket because of Shining
Revelry.
Revelry, which I finally got my first shiny Pokemon in that deck the other day. They've seen a 250% surge since that released as far as revenue.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, I actually don't even think it's that great of a set. I haven't seen the gold
apparently it
cards
is because
yet.
people really liked it.
No, I think it has some good cards, but I haven't seen what the
I think
gold cards are
it's
from
the
it yet.
shiny cards that people are going after in this set because I think this is the first set
Is
where
it
shiny Pokemon are a
is the
thing.
gold card shiny Charizard?
I don't know, but I do know this is the first set that has shiny Pokemon, which is probably why people are want this one
Well,
more
yeah,
than
I mean
others
shiny
for
Pokemon
those
are great. I
specifically.
just
Because I
don't
think
think
I
it's
got a
better. I just don't think it's better than the Mew set. I thought was really, really
I don't think
good.
it's that. I think it's just strictly the shiny
Mythical
Pokemon
Island.
because the only shiny I got's a Riolu, however you say his name.
Riolu, yeah.
Riolu is the one that I got the other day.
I
So
wanna get the Lucario, I really wanna get that, and I wanna get the Charizard as well, because it's a shiny as well. But, yeah, that's, it's a pretty cool
yeah,
set.
because what this set
There's
has
still a lot
it's
that
the
I need, but
shiny Lucario EX and then the shiny Charizard EX are probably going to be like those are the
but
other chase cards of this deck.
what's the gold chase card that's in this
I
set? Because there's a
I'm
gold card for every set.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I don't know either. I actually haven't even bothered to look or anything what the gold card was.
Yeah, and I guess the last of this little small news, so we can get to the big stuff. Uh, it's reported that the Zelda movie is expected to be a trilogy of films. Obviously, with the first movie coming out in 2027. They say principal filming starts in New Zealand November of this year and wraps up April of next year for the first movie.
So you're
Um,
you're telling me they're filming this in New Zealand and not Hyrule?
yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, it makes sense, especially if you watch Lord of the Rings movies.
Dude, everything
I think
shoots
the
in New Zealand.
environment, a lot of the environment fits for it. At least some of the because it's a fairly mountainous in some areas.
Yeah.
Obviously, the desert couldn't be filmed there, but well, they said principal filming. But the fact that this is be a trilogy, so it's going to be a. I think this makes sense for.
I think it makes
Zelda's
a lot
probably
of
one of the
sense. There's
more.
so many Zelda games that, like, it's gonna be really hard to tell a story with
Yeah, but like
one
Zelda's
movie.
always been story heavy as far as like first party games. It's like one of the heaviest story elements of the games that they have, and the fact that they're going to essentially making a story last three separate games, it gives the story time to properly develop and introduce a lot of characters. What's going on?
I got a Wug Trio EX.
You just pull that?
Yeah.
This guy. It's also said Shigeru Miyamoto and Hollywood producer Avi Arad will produce the Zelda movie. I
Okay.
don't know what he's worked on. I can't.
I don't
I
know.
don't
Yeah,
know.
we'd have to look up his work. I'm not sure.
I mean, it's always good that Shigeru Miyamoto is one of the producers.
Absolutely. I think he has to be because I think it's such an important series. It really has to be done right. And the fact that more than likely Link will not be talking is going to make the movie even harder to do.
Oh, Link's
Um,
gonna talk in this movie. I
you
think it's
think
gonna
so?
be. I don't see why
I
not.
mean, because they
The
came out
Breath of the
saying
Wild
that
and
that
Tears of the Kingdom treat Link as if he talks based off
so
how
the
characters interact with him.
but they do in every game. They always treat him as
Yes,
if
he
he
just
talks
doesn't
in
talk
every
as the
game.
player character. Why would he not talk?
I don't because he never talks.
He's gonna talk in these movies. You have to accept that. It's a different medium,
I don't want him to talk though.
but he's going to.
If he talks, I'm not watching it.
But some of the films that this producer worked on, so he's worked on Blade, X-Men, Blade 2, Spider-Man, Daredevil, Hulk, X2, The Punisher, Spider-Man 2, Blade Train. He's worked on a lot
Wow,
of
he's got
Marvel stuff.
a lot of yeah, he's got a catalog under
Yeah,
his
so it was
belt.
what played on Ghost Rider, Spirits of Vengeance,
Oh,
Rise
that's
of
a
the Silver
horrible movie.
Surfer, Last
That's a
Stand.
horrible movie
Yeah,
too.
he's worked on some good. He worked on the Ghost in the Shell movie, which was god awful, I
That was
think,
really
compared to the
bad.
source
So
material.
he's worked on some really bad
But he's
stuff.
also worked on Into the Spider-Verse,
That was
Far
good.
From Home. Okay, so sorry, some of these he worked as a executive producer, some as just a regular producer, so it's kind of back and forth. But he had
Okay.
whether it's an executive producer or producer, some level of high up work on some of these movies.
Well, I mean, at
Just to
least
clarify.
yeah, I mean, at least there's some hope there that he's done some pretty good.
But as a producer or executive producer, you still have your hands all over these movies.
Yeah,
Uh, but he was a producer in Into the Spider-Verse, executive on Far From Home and
very
stuff
good
like
movie.
that, and No Way Home. But then he's worked on movies like as a producer, the Uncharted movie,
Not
Morbius,
good.
Across
Not
the
good.
Spider-Verse, Borderlands,
Not
Venom: The
good.
Last Dance, Craven the Hunter.
Oh my
So
god, these
he's
are
like
so bad.
all over the place on
Bro,
quality. He worked on some really good
he's
movies.
worked on some really bad movies too.
'Cause it's like, Elektra, Trent, like, he worked
Oh
on,
my
like,
god, he
all
did
of
Electro
the
too. That
Blade
was
movies and
so bad.
stuff like that. So it's, like, all over the place. It's just a bunch of Marvel
Well,
stuff is
now I
what he's
feel
worked
a
on.
lot less confident about this movie because this is
I'm
this
confident with Shigeru Miyamoto, but he said that, I'm like, "Okay, so this movie's gonna be a 10 out of 10 or a 0
or
out
a
of 10."
0 out of
There
0.
is no in between with this guy.
Oh my god, that's
And
not
he's apparently
good.
working on a to be determined date for a Naruto movie, so
Oh, no. Why?
yeah.
Why? These never
But he
turn out
worked as an
good.
executive producer on X-Men: The Animated Series, um Nick Fury, Agents of Shield, the
These anime
98 version of
movies
that.
never turn out good, ever.
He worked as a consultant on X-Men 97. What's it?
Well, that's
Tarzan and
good.
Jane, Super Monsters, Kong, King of Apes.
Not not
These are
good.
all like TV shows that he was either mostly an executive producer on, but yeah, it's like he's like all over the place on the quality of stuff he's worked on. Bro's got range. That's all I can say. So the only hope is that Shigeru
Hilarious.
Miyamoto is a producer on this movie or an executive producer somewhere at that level. So keep a tight rein on this,
I
and
think he would
hopefully the
have
same
to keep a tight
quality
rein
that
on it.
of the Mario movie that we got.
Yeah, I hope so too. That was a fantastic movie. They really did Mario justice in that movie. So I do have faith there because I always thought that like a adaptation of Mario would not really work
I think it would
super
do
great
well.
until I saw it, and
I
I
mean,
was
I
like,
don't
"Oh,
know.
this
It's not
makes so much
the
sense."
first time you had the cartoon from like what the 80s or 90s or something like that.
What Mario? There's a couple.
Like the Mario Bros. There's like one or
There's
two
a
or something like that.
couple of
One
them.
was
Yeah,
good, one was bad.
I don't think any of them were good. Mark.
Oh my god. Do
Super
you
Mario
think
Bros. 3 had an animated show, and then there
here's
was
a hot
Super
take?
Mario Super Show.
Well, because there was also a Legend of Zelda animated series
Yeah,
that
I like
is
that series though.
like I'm sorry,
I
we
like that
need to
series.
have a well, excuse me, princess
No,
in this
that's from the
movie, and
CDI
I
deal.
will lose it and love it. I want that reference in this
If they
movie.
put that in that movie, man, I'll lose it in the theater.
Oh my god, I would assume a lot of people in the theater would lose like, "Oh my god, they did it. The
That
Mad
would
Lad did it."
that would be hilarious if they did that. That'd be really funny.
I don't know, could you do a movie with him not speaking?
Well, I don't know. I was kind of joking, but you could, you
It'd be an
could,
interesting
but it would
decision
be
for a movie.
very interesting because it's like, how do
Well,
you
no,
do
I'm
that?
sorry. He speaks, it's just, "Huh, huh, huh?" That's all he says in the movie.
Right. It's like how do you actually adapt that?
I don't think you can. I don't think
Because
it would work
because
well.
I mean, even Mario in the Mario series, like he speaks so
Yeah, but
little, so
Mario's actually
little.
talked in the games. You have the infamous,
Yeah, but he's like,
Mario 64 one.
"Mamma mia," like very. He had like one-liners, and they're like really short and sweet and to the point. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, can you do it? Yes, you can, but it would be very difficult, I think.
I don't think they should even entertain. I don't think they're going to entertain it. I don't think it would work.
But
The question is,
I
what
feel
kind
like
of
hardcore
story are they going to
fans would
tell?
be pretty upset by the change. It's such a big change for you have to think it's a huge change for Zelda. This is going all the way back to Zelda 1 of him not speaking. It's like a thing, you know.
But it's a video game. Like movies and video games are not the same
They're
type of
not, but
medium.
it's you do got to think like I get the point of why
I think
people
everybody expects Link to talk in this.
I don't
That's just my
necessarily
take on it.
expect that. I don't expect anything because I don't know the angle they're going for with this. But if
I
it's
don't know.
going to be a trilogy, I mean, he's got to speak at some point in the trilogy, I would think.
Yeah, hopefully it does well. The question is, are they filming them all kind of like together, like the Lord of the Rings did, or are they going to do one movie at a time and it's like
Right, yeah,
4
I
years
wonder
apart?
that too. Yeah, I wonder that as well.
But if they're already planning on it being a trilogy, I think it would be better just to film them all together. I don't know. That's
Because they feel more connected that way, and you don't have all the
yeah.
wait time in between the actors looking different, and you know,
Losing the actors. Well, the movie didn't do as well, so they nixed them, and now you're
yeah,
just up on a cliffhanger and stuff like
right,
that.
right,
So
right. I will say I'm very excited about this because it is among my favorite franchises of all time. So I think that it can be adapted well. I think it has the lore for a very good story, and it can do something completely original too and still work just as well. Like
have to
it
wait another
doesn't
two
have to
years,
follow a
another 2 or
source
so years to
material
get
per
a
se.
yeah, another 2 years to get a trailer, and then we can just oh god, the moment that trailer drops, it's gonna be examined to hell.
Oh yeah, dude, we're gonna be watching that one 50 times, making a video out of that one. All right,
Yeah,
what else we
some
got?
of this other stuff we kind of already knew if you watched the direct, but obviously,
Yeah,
the
we want
Switch
to
is
touch
supposed
on
to
everything though.
yeah, the Switch is gonna be handheld 1080p, docked up to 4K, which is really nice, but that's almost certainly, AI upscaling is what we're dealing with
Yeah,
that the
DLSS.
DLSS and stuff like that, which is what you're getting with that, and it's also supporting HDR. They say what? It supports up to 120 frames per second at
Yeah, it
the
supports
speed.
VRR, which is what I was worried
Yeah, they
about.
also said what about the 60 frames for the 4K and stuff like that, which is
4K
really nice.
60, 1080, 120. So That's
Obviously,
good.
the games still need to be optimized to work on it, but the fact that the hardware will support that is really good.
Yeah, it
Plus,
is.
it's a 7.9-inch screen, pretty much an 8-inch screen and stuff like that, so I think it'll I like the design of this over the original Switch personally, but,
You know what's crazy is that, like, the 1080p screen is actually even though that it's actually a better screen than some of the PC handhelds that are out there
well,
that
yeah,
are
because
very pricey.
everyone's riffing on the it's not an OLED, but, like, you act like LCDs aren't
Well,
good or
here's the
can't
thing.
be good screens, like, the
Here's my
original
take on it.
Switch was a really cheap comp like, to be fair, it's like, what, $300, something like that?
Yeah, here's my take
And
on it.
almost 10 years ago?
The upgrade from the LCD that we got at the time when the Switch came out, the OLED was a huge upgrade for it. Like, it
Yeah.
made games look so different, but the technology that they're using with the LCD now versus the technology we had with LCD then, like, you can even tell from secondhand footage how much better that
I'm
picture
like, "Yeah,
looks.
sure, OLED
It
will
looks
always be
way
better," but
better.
you just because it's LCD
It's
doesn't mean
not
it's
the
bad,
same.
like,
Not all
LCDs have
LCD
gotten
is
better.
created equally. It
Yeah,
is improved upon consistently. So my take is that, yeah, it's still not as good as an OLED, but here's the thing.
and it was
You
also a
gotta keep the
720
price
screen.
down. You gotta keep the price down for one. OLED is more expensive. And also the fact that that LCD screen, just from secondhand footage, I watched so many videos of people playing it, like iJustine. I watched her video and I was like, my God, this screen looks so good, and it's LCD. Like,
Yeah,
I wasn't shocked. I knew LCD had gotten better, but I was like, "Okay, then I get this." For one, it keeps the cost down a little bit more. If they come out with an OLED model later down the line, I'll grab it, of course, so I absolutely have to. I love OLED technology, but the LCD technology has improved vastly upon the LCD technology of the Switch 1, so
yeah, uh, and I just wanna hit obviously, it's got more, it's got 256, gigabytes of internal storage, which, while not a lot for a lot of Nintendo games, it's a lot more room for a lot more games, and it also supports the micro SD, but it's not the same it's
micro
not the
SD
SD yeah, it's
Express,
not you can't use the same SD as the Switch, but
which
obviously
is a
you can
good thing.
digital transfer
It's a good thing because what
is
people
the
don't
thing.
understand about that is that the micro SD card express cards are the closest that we can get to SSD
Yeah,
technology.
you need is the read and write really obviously
Yes.
really matters for the speed of some of these games,
Yes.
but obviously, it's probably not gonna be they're gonna talk some things, but until you actually have this in your hand, until people can, like, rip it apart and see the actual guts of this thing, I'm sure some of the actual hardware will be, limited, but once this actually comes out, I'm sure we'll know for sure what's actually behind the actual dock and stuff like that.
What I do think puts, ease to a lot of people's minds is that this is even at the $450 price point, the lower price point, this is still competitive to PC handhelds that are out now, and it's still competitive to current gen consoles. PS5, not the PS5 Pro, but the PS5 and the Series X. This is competitive to that. It is doing what it is doing what those consoles are doing at the very least. It's hitting that 120, hertz. It's hitting that 4K. And it's got the DLSS, and my take on this is that Nintendo is going to be way more prepared for DLSS than PlayStation was for PSSR because it was a new technology. It's proprietary. It was a brand new thing for them, so developers didn't know what to do with it yet. In my humble opinion, I think the DLSS with the Switch 2 right off the bat is going to hit the ground running and is going to be done correctly, unlike PSSR,
Yeah,
because they decide to go proprietary with it and people have to learn how to code with these things and how it
compared to
works.
just using what's already on the market.
Right. They're working with NVIDIA technology, so it's already been there and it's already been thoroughly tested and used and things like that. What I would be interested to know is what obviously this is like semi proprietary as well. This is NVIDIA's technology for DLSS, but it's not the same DLSS that you find in your PC. It's been restructured. What I'd be curious to know is what version of DLSS are they working off of? Would it be 2? Would it be 3? I'm assuming probably 3 because we're at 4 now.
It's hard to tell until we get some kind of official confirmation, either when we can dig
I don't
into it
think we
more
will
or
though. I
when,
think
if there's a leak at an actual the
it'd
developers are
be cool
using.
if well, I say it'd be cool if there was a leak, but it
I'm
would
sure we'll
be nice
find out
to
eventually.
know.
Once the Switch is actually out and stuff like
Yeah.
that, though, you'll probably get some kinda leak from a development
I'd
company.
just be
There's
curious
hundreds
because
of people working with it.
you said, you went from like a 1080 Ti straight to the 4070, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, like, you didn't get to see the progression of DLSS and how horrible it was in the
Oh, no,
beginning?
because I buy a new, GPU, like, every, like, 5, 6 years. I don't
Yes,
buy a
but
new one
it
every
was
year.
really bad in the beginning, like, it was really bad, it wasn't good, people didn't like
Well,
it.
it was new technology and stuff
There's
like that,
new
so it's always gonna be
technology.
rough.
So that's why I said I'm kind of curious, as to what version they're working off of. Obviously, they're doing their own, like, quote, unquote, "proprietary version" of DLSS, but it's working off of already made technology.
Well, yeah, because 'cause you're not
Um
using the same chips and the same cards that you can get on a laptop or a
Right.
desktop, obviously, so there's some changes that have to
So
probably
my
be made
my
behind the scenes.
assumption is it's probably gonna be working off of DLSS 3, just
You'd
because
hope it if you're
3.5
trying to, like,
was for
future-proof.
4090 and 4 is now for the 5090 and or for the 50 series. So that's just my guess of what they're working off of, which is a good sign because DLSS 1, 2 were not great. They were still working on the technology. It got better and better, and obviously they pretty much perfected it with the 4090. Like across the board, people love that card and love what DLSS brought to the table with that. But I'd be curious just to know a little more of the ins and outs of it. But I don't think Nintendo wants us to know that stuff. So whether
Yeah.
we will know intentionally or not is to be seen.
No, yeah, I agree, sorry, I was trying to, pull something up real
Come on,
quick.
Mark.
No, you were talking no, 'cause I was trying to prepare it for what for the next thing I was pulling up. Oh my
Oh,
god, you
you're
have to,
good.
like, talk about literally everything. Yeah, I think we're good enough. So, I mean, as you say that, I was trying to pull up the screen share.
Okay.
So obviously we're gonna know more about this on the for Mario Kart World on April 17th. It's gonna have its own direct. But one of the things that we did learn when they were doing their treehouse, I'm just gonna play like a short little snippet from
Okay.
it, is the fact that for the first time that I'm pretty sure Super Mario Kart, the what is it? The feather item is actually back in the game,
That's cool.
which is crazy. It's been this long.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's coming up here for a second when he does the next item.
Okay.
Because people are talking about it, like how it's going to use you, are gonna be able to like dodge like the blue shell, but the fact that the feather's actually in the racing portion of a game
Oh,
since
wow.
Super
Okay.
Mario Kart, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
is crazy.
Wow.
I didn't think they were ever going to bring it back. I don't know exactly what you could or couldn't use it for. Obviously, we don't have our hands on the game and certain map designs. But I guess with the idea, the fact that you're bringing, that you're bringing the feather back and you have quasi open world elements, I could see it being useful for that to help like traverse the world and stuff
Yeah.
like that if
Yeah.
items are available while you're generally traversing the world. But the ability to maybe add a new design to where I can bring that back.
Yeah.
A design of a world where maybe there's not a ramp to get to a certain area, but the feather allows you to get up to another area. You have to have the item for certain shortcuts or something like that. Would be pretty in a unique way because you never played Super Mario Kart on the SNES. The feather was essentially what they used because ramps weren't a thing to either get around obstacles
Yeah.
or jump over something or certain what do you call it, like shortcuts. You had to get the feather to access essentially.
Right.
So like I could see them potentially doing the same thing. Obviously, we've come a long way since the Super Mario Kart, which for as it's you struggle to go back and play that game and get good at it. I grew up playing that game, and I think it's
It's
a very
hard.
iconic game.
It's hard.
Even
It's a
back then, it
harder
was hard
game.
because you're using directional pads, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Drifting, you needed to drift, but if you drifted too long, you'd spin out. It
Yeah.
was it was much harder to like get really good at that game.
Yeah. It
So
was.
I'm just kind of curious, and then obviously we're gonna learn more on the 17th, exactly about this game, which is the big launch title for a while. It's another month till you get Donkey Kong, and then it's gonna probably be till the holiday before the next big. You have
I mean,
like Metroid, and then Pokemon ZA
I
launch.
guess we didn't really, for those that weren't able to watch the direct with us or anything, I guess we didn't even really mention that this is essentially an open world Mario Kart game that
Yeah,
I could have never guessed this is something that we would ever get. But when you think about it, it really makes sense because games like Need for Speed, Most Wanted, or some of those open world racing type games, like it really does actually make a lot of sense, and it makes sense as like a next step and next evolution because at the end of the day, what else do you do different with Mario Kart?
I
And
guess
this
this
is
is the
what you
only
do.
logical way, other than
This
that you're
is
just
what
gonna
you do.
redo what Mario Kart 8 and 8 Deluxe was, which was just a bunch. You just add more tracks. Like, you need to
Yeah,
move the world, and this is probably the only way they could, like, revamp Mario Kart is introducing an open world concept, because obviously they talked about it with, you have to drive the different courses. You've got the essentially the marathon race where you every section of the race you get knocked out and stuff like
yeah.
that, which other racing games kind of already do, but for
It took
Mario Kart,
some
it's the
a
first
cue
time.
from, F-Zero 99 with that a little bit where you can get
Yeah,
knocked
I
out
mean,
of the
there's
race.
a lot of games and pretty racing games that do
Yeah,
that.
there
Obviously, not
is.
all of them, but
There
and then
is.
on top of that, obviously, I don't think we've gotten confirmed. It's probably gonna get confirmed on the 19th, but we essentially already know there's gonna be 24 player races, which will be,
The
nice, and
biggest yet.
hopefully the networked version of this online will be able to handle it. As well as they're hinting, or people are speculating there could be up to 84 potential characters. Hopefully they're not. We know there's different skins for characters. Hopefully that doesn't, like,
Count
Mario
as,
is
like, the
one
character.
character, and then you can just add different skins on them, and it's not
Oh,
like
come on, we all want Doctor Mario as a
eight
character.
versions of your character list is just different versions of Mario essentially. But like, if you could essentially, like, there's no reason at this point they couldn't essentially put every most of the mainline Mario characters in this game.
And even other characters as well, like, think of, what's her name from Bayonetta? Being like a racer or
Yeah.
like,
But add
um
those after every single Mario characters in this game. Like, they should all be in this game, and then you can start adding in other IPs and stuff like that on top of it.
'cause like, Mario Kart Arcade GP 1 and 2, like, for instance,
Yeah.
had Pac-Man in the game. So,
But those are also developed by Bandai Namco, so that makes a little bit more sense.
yeah, but it would be interesting to see some of those other characters brought to the franchise, like the way they did Link with, Mario
Yeah.
Kart 8 Deluxe, and, um, yeah, I think this makes sense as, like, the next evolution of Mario Kart,
Yeah,
like,
and then the question is, because
I
we
gotta
kind of
say
already
this
get
is the first time I've been this excited about a Mario Kart in many years, really.
it's pretty much been, what's the gimmick, but the game still pretty much plays the same. So this is the
Right.
first time, and then I guess the idea is, how many courses are we gonna get at launch? How are they gonna deal? Are we even getting? Are they going away from the retro stuff? Or how are they gonna deal with expansions and more tracks? Are they able to bring the older tracks back? Either is you can play that like the old Mario Kart, or they're gonna try to, like, add retro tracks into this open world
I
style of game, or it's a
wonder
mixture of both
Yeah, I
potentially.
wonder what they're gonna do. I'm definitely curious on how they're going to,
Because ever since
incorporate everything.
I think ever since Mario Kart Advanced, I don't remember, that's the game, but on the GBA,
Super Circuit.
retro tracks have been a thing in every Mario Kart game. Like, that's always been there. Do they
Yeah.
go away from that staple because of what they're trying to do?
I have one request for this game. Bring
What's
back
that?
battle mode from Mario Kart DS.
I mean, I'd love to see it and stuff like that, or at the very least, eventually with updates, because we're at a point now where that's something you could add down the line, though you'd like it to be in the base game. But
I have
I
one
mean, you
more
got another,
request.
what's another 2 weeks before the 17th? Yeah, about 2 weeks before we get the full direct, which is probably gonna tell us everything about this
Yeah,
game, so,
one more request. Custom emblems.
we're not getting that back ever again.
Yeah, I
That's a
know.
relic stuck on the DS, and you know why it's not coming back. As much as I loved it, because I spent forever just making,
Yeah.
unique little, character designs on that thing
Oh,
with the
man.
essentially, it's pixel art.
Yeah, it's pixel art. It was people made some cool stuff, man. It's
You
how
get
I
really
learned
creative with it.
about genitals and all that kinda stuff, so
Oh my god, this guy. I don't know, I think you played more online than I did, but
I played a lot of Mario Kart Online.
yeah, I guess one of the other big games that we got, announced, that aren't third party games is, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment, which
Yes.
I think
Which
will
has
be
not been talked about very much. I've noticed.
Surprisingly not.
I've seen so little talked about this game, and I think it's this game. The series is very popular, and it's obviously set in the Tears of the Kingdom timeline. Like it makes a lot of sense. And Age of Calamity, like its downfall was the fact that it had performance problems because of the amount of characters and stuff on screen and the
There's
Switch
just a lot. Yeah, there's a
limitations.
lot going on with these games.
There's a
But the
lot,
fact
yeah,
that we're kind of like that one, because this is what the imprisoning war essentially. So we're seeing more of the story. Getting probably there's not going to. Sorry, I can't speak. Link's not in this past, so I assume Zelda will be our main character that we play as in this game. But the fact that we can experience the other side of the story
yeah,
of Tears of the Kingdom, and I kind of like what they're doing with these warrior games in between Zelda games.
yeah,
You get it's a stopgap between the 4 or 5 years between games as
yes.
of right now, and it directly ties into the main story. And essentially, since they're stuck doing this back and forth, which I
You there? Oh, he's frozen.
this allows you to expand and experience what's going
Yeah,
essentially.
you're
So
back.
I what's that?
You're frozen.
Oh, sorry. I do like what they're doing with this, and I don't necessarily mind it. I don't hate the Warriors games, and I think it's a unique way to tell the full story of every mainline game, essentially.
Yeah, I think
If that
so
makes
too.
sense to you.
Yeah, no, it makes sense to me. I did get I was getting burnout just because we were getting the Fire Emblem Warriors, we were getting the Hyrule Warriors, and we were also getting the Persona Strikers, which is the same thing for Persona, and we were getting a lot of these games, but, no, I mean, it makes a lot of sense because it's like it's a cool, unique way, to have a take on Zelda, and like it makes sense and it's telling a story that fills in where we didn't get story in like Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild and stuff like that, where a lot
Yeah.
of stuff was kind of missing and we didn't know as much about the video games. But like Age of Calamity brought forth a lot of lore to the story that was really important. And yeah, I think this is great. So
Yeah, and the fact
I'm
that I
excited.
guess so they do say it comes out winter, so that's probably a December to February release window. I guess they probably still working on the game, so we don't have like a hard set date.
Yeah,
But so it comes out sometime in the winter, which means it could come after the holiday season. So we got some time on this, but yeah, I don't necessarily hate for just Zelda, regardless of the other IPs for the Warrior games. I do think it fits Hyrule because when you think of like a lot of like the lore, um, for some of these fights or like how they talk up, at least in the last two games with Link, these kind of fights make a lot more sense for the battle
yeah,
instead of you're fighting like a handful of bokoblins
because
because
it's a
just the way the
war.
game works. I think this definitely makes it feel more lore accurate as far as like some of these battles would have
Yeah,
actually been essentially.
and I really like the name of the game too. It's something I woulda not guessed for a
I mean, it leans on
subtitle.
because this is supposed to be the imprisoning war, age of imprisonment and stuff like that. I think the names cleverly tie into like what's actually going on. Uh,
Yeah,
so hopefully this is
I
more
like it.
canon than what they did with the first,
Yeah, the first
not
one
the
was
first
not
Hyrule
canon at
but the
all,
one for
but
Breath of the Wild. It was kind of like a
oh, Age of
alternative
Calamity?
timeline. Yeah, Age of Calamity was more alternative. It's technically alternative, so it wasn't like a one for one the way the story kind of played out. I hope they don't do it the same one with this
Well,
one. Have it more tied in, but
I mean, it was
that's just
canon,
me.
though. It was canon.
Canon, but I thought the story primarily dealt with because you had that little thing go back in time that
It
wasn't
was
in the main
canon, but
story.
it was like,
An
it
alternative
didn't
universe.
yeah, it was a weird one. It was a little bit weird, but I like that it seems like they're focusing on this being canon and telling more of the story that we don't know about and that we didn't get from the
And
games
it
'cause
and
we
I
need
think it
that.
helps with what Pokemon's doing. You realize it's gonna take 4 to 5 years. So to keep the IP relevant, add more
Yeah,
content. Here's essentially a stopgap game, a
yeah,
spin-off game, if you will, but it
exactly.
still ties in. It's just not like the first one, which I think was a unique take, but having it tie into these games also gives people a reason to actually go out and buy and actually play these games to maybe get more of a understanding of what was going on with the story. Even if it's not a one for one canon, they still do what they did with the other one. I don't hate what they're doing with the Hyrule Warrior series. And
I don't hate it
I
either.
don't I like these types of games, and I hope they continue to
Yeah.
uh Nintendo and Koei Tecmo continue to have this relationship, because I think it works out really well for both parties.
Yeah, I mean, it works with the Fire Emblem series as well. I mean, it really works there, and there's enough lore and characters deep into the Fire Emblem series that you could make countless games for just Fire Emblem alone. So I mean, it makes sense, and like they did it with Persona, and it worked for Persona too. And it makes sense. Like these type of games make sense for certain series where you can tell a little more on the story of in a different way, in a different manner, in a different style of gameplay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely excited for it for sure.
No, I am. And then obviously, we got a lot of stuff that was getting more upgrades. I brought up the Pokemon stuff earlier, but there's a lot of other games that are getting some upgrades. So I was trying to pull. I didn't want to hit that button. I was trying to pull some other stuff real
Oh
quick.
no, you're good. Mr. Coffee said
Scroll
Burnout
up here.
Paradise. Yeah, that was the game I was thinking of.
Yeah. All right. Shit. There we go. Stop. So some of the other ones. So there were two main games that I was bringing up that were getting not only the upscale but also essentially extra stuff. Obviously, the first one is a game that we played and really liked. It's the Super Mario Jamboree. Essentially,
Yes,
it's the
very
Switch
happy
2
about
edition
this.
plus Jamboree TV, which is essentially using the camera functionality
Yeah,
for like a lot of these games and stuff like that, as well as what the mouse.
in
So
the
like this
mouse.
is
Yeah,
this game felt like the primary gimmick for a lot of the new features of the Switch 2, since they don't have like a Switch 2 Sports essentially.
yeah,
This was the game that they were doing to add, not only they adding full sale or just a whole lot more content, but they're using it to essentially show what the Switch 2 can do as far as some of the camera functionality stuff,
yes.
which I thought was
I'm
pretty
very,
neat.
very happy about this because we really enjoyed this game, and it's not often that we get a a Mario Party with extra content rather than just like a whole new Mario Party. And I just thought this game was done so well. It was the first one that I loved as much as I did since like Mario Party 2. And I like most of the Mario Party games, but I think that like it just brought back that Mario Party love that I used to have, and we had so much fun playing this game. Like, I wanna stream this again sometime soon, and, like, this will be a perfect time to stream it as well. It might be a little bit harder with the camera maybe, but I think that, I think this is a makes so much sense.
Yeah,
So,
I can't imagine a whole lot of games actually using the camera functionality, but I think it's a unique way to kind of show like how you could potentially use
did
this with the Switch hardware.
did you see the Hori, branded Piranha Plant camera?
I didn't know.
Oh, you gotta look see if you can show that on screen. I want people to see that. It's
But
really
but we do know, like, you don't have to buy Nintendo's camera. I think they say any kind of like webcam with the USB-C plugin will essentially work, unless you want Nintendo's camera for whatever reason. Uh,
Yeah, hold on. I'll see if I can pull this up real quick. This is really cool. Like I'll buy both. I'll buy the regular one and this one, just this one for the collection. But um, this is really, really such a neat idea. Let's pull it up here. So check this out. So this is officially licensed. This is a camera. It's a piranha plant that closes up too. If you don't
that is
want,
unique if you want a camera, but you want it to like blend in or something like that. You
right,
just don't want the black camera just sitting there.
right. Isn't that such a cool idea?
I think it's a unique idea. They should have done with the main camera personally, but
I mean, I'll buy both. I'll buy this just to keep as like a collection piece and use the other one as like my camera for the console. But I think this is so
fair
cool.
enough.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really
Yeah.
cool.
And then the other game that's not only getting essentially a Switch 2 edition plus extra content is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. It's getting a
Yes.
star-crossed world uh, content. I can bring up the trailer.
Excellent game.
It's definitely a game I haven't.
This is like a semi it's not a true open world game, but it's like a semi open world Kirby game that really works. Like the one I had the most fun with in a long time.
Yeah, and I'm glad that for some of these games, it's not just a here's some more graphics and it performs better, but here's
Yeah,
like actual new content coming to the
like
Switch 2
putting some
version.
effort into releasing
Yeah,
us on the new
adding a
console.
lot more content, because I don't know if this is just more content for the Switch 2 that it's better with the hardware, or if they were actually taking advantage of some of the other stuff like the Mario,
Yeah.
which I don't think it was. But
Yeah,
it's
this
each, I've not played the game, so I can't really speak a whole lot about it. But it's always good to see that you're getting more content essentially. So you get more bang for your buck. You're not just paying $10 or whatever they're going to charge just for it to perform better, unless it's Pokemon and it absolutely does.
right. They're giving you value for it, which Nintendo is good at
Yeah.
doing. They're good with doing value. They give you they do give you value with their games.
Yeah, so I don't know whether it's just more of a reason to buy the Switch 2 and stuff like that, but it's always love to see more content.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that they're adding additional content on top of the improvements of the games and the frame rates and resolution bumps and
Yeah, and then obviously, if you don't already know, some other games that are getting essentially more performance upgrades. It's Prime 4 Beyond will have a Switch 2 version, so it's obviously developed for the Switch 1, but it'll have ideally better performance on the Switch 2.
also
Legends
looks
ZA.
much better. Like it looks
Yeah, I think each would just have better hardware and stuff like that. So it's good that we're having essentially a better version of the game and stuff like that. Legends ZA, those games aren't surprising. They're probably going to be the two big holiday titles that come out for the Switch at this
yeah,
point.
I think so
Uh,
too.
as well as not shockingly, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which I do think definitely will perform better with the hardware, especially if you've ever played Breath of the Wild and you're in the Korok Forest. That game just was that area just
Yeah, it
could not
chugs there.
perform well.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed with Tears of the King, I actually saw way less of the chugging with Tears of the Kingdom, but what would chug is when you were flying down, like you could see frame
Yeah, it's
rate
trying to
drops
load a lot
and
of stuff. So
yeah,
hopefully this issue would just make, at the very least, I just want something that just is a completely smoother experience.
yeah,
Because outside
exactly.
of that issue, those games are really good and
They're
really fun.
very
It's
good
just
games.
at times you could realize it's pushing the limits of what the hardware can really do, especially with an open world game. It was
I
like,
mean,
yeah, this 2017, 2016
Tears
era
of the
hardware
Kingdom
is really limiting.
is officially my favorite game of all time, so I'm always excited to see that we're getting like a better version of that game because
I hope they not only do they give you an upgrade, but you're getting more
it'd be cool to get some
they
additional
give more
content.
content as well. Like
It's
another reason
possible because we got
we're gonna
DLC
add.
for Breath of the Wild, but we never did for Tears for some reason, so it's possible.
So if you're gonna pay to get better performance, give people more of a reason to buy the game. Treat it essentially like a DLC where you're getting that more content as well. And there's always the chance before I don't know if did they give us the dates for all these upgrades or these just like
I
at
don't know, actually. To be honest with you, that's a great question. I
I
don't
can't
know.
remember to be honest. I know we were watching it and we were seeing it. But it would be nice to see that these games also come. But if they come out at launch, I feel like we would have heard it by now. If they come out later in the year, hopefully they get when they give us the next direct, they'll be like, oh yeah, here's more content. So there's an actual reason and give people less of a reason to complain about paying for better performance. But
I don't see an actual confirmation on a date, but yeah,
they
we'll
did for
definitely
obviously Kirby and Jamboree that they obviously verified there's more content coming because Kirby comes
Oh,
August 28th and
the
Jamboree comes July 24th.
the other thing that we didn't bring up is that they're actually making a map now available on your phone to
Oh
find
yeah,
all
where
the
it's
shrines and the
like a
Korok
GPS type
seeds
thing.
and
I
yeah.
don't know if it's just for that. That's what they use to demonstrate it, but away because it's like a big map. So it's like, oh, you can look at it because it's maybe not on screen, but at least it says, oh, you're going here, turn this way or something like that, which
It's
is
just
which
essentially
is neat.
taking the Wii U concept. That was the one plus side of Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild on the Wii U is that you had the gamepad, which was, it didn't run quite as well. It didn't run bad, I would say. I think it's fun on the Wii U. I played on the Wii U and the Switch, but yeah, I like that they're taking that concept of having that dual screen there for the map and being able to use that because that could be very, very helpful, you know, without having to keep pulling the map up and finding the shrines and finding the Korok seeds and all that stuff. I think it was really cool. I don't know if we have like a trailer or any screenshots of that, but
Nothing that was like immediate because those games are just. It's more of like a comparison to the originals. What some of those videos are for.
oh, okay.
And the trailers were pretty short. But just because we did get the confirmation, Metroid Prime 4 will be able to hit 4K at 60 FPS or 1080 at 120 with the Switch 2 upgrade,
Perfect.
which is really nice to see.
Perfect.
That
Yeah.
game already looked really good with
Mhm.
60 FPS at 4K, I think will be absolutely amazing. My
Yeah.
TV can't do 4K, but it's good it's being able to
Well,
do
I
it.
will say, I mean, like, there's got to eventually be a reason for you to want to upgrade to a
Well, my
4K
TV's like
screen.
6 to 8 years. It's oh no, my
Yeah,
TV's
but
like 8 years old at this point.
do you often game on your TV or do you game more on a monitor?
Depends on if I'm playing a console game, it's on my TV. If I'm playing any other
See,
game
yeah,
on the PC,
it
because
used to be that way for me, but now I just play
Nintendo
everything on a monitor.
I play my Nintendo and or my Switch and my PlayStation for console exclusives, and anything that's not an exclusive, I play on my PC, so it just
Gotcha.
depends
I
on what I'm
mean,
playing.
eventually there will be, there will be something that'll come along for you to want to invest
I mean, I'll need
into.
to
I mean,
upgrade
4K is
eventually
affordable
anyways, but
now. Much more affordable. You can get a 4K screen for a couple $100 now at this point, but there, definitely will be something that will be like, okay, I want to see the beauty of this game. I really want to see how this game looks. Now, for me, I will now they did announce they did not say this for Metroid Prime per se, but we did get confirmation of a 1440p mode on the console itself as well. So that's good
yeah.
too because 1440p, while it may not be a drastic improvement over 1080p, it is a very noticeable improvement over 1080p. I just compared like earlier today 1080p Monster Hunter Wilds to 1440p, and it's actually a much bigger jump than you'd think it would be. It truly is. Like it really does look a lot better. So seeing that in 4K at 60, like I don't even know what mode would I want to play more because it's like for a game like Metroid Prime where it's kind of a Twitch-esque game as far as a shooter where you
I mean,
gotta
kinda
I would
well,
probably opt to play that. I want to try both modes,
I
but
think
I would
this
probably
game
opt for the 120 frames per second mode
I guess
myself.
it just depends. Try
Yeah.
both, but this one I feel like we'll play more like an actual shooter for the first time in the Prime series because Primes 1 and 2, and I guess technically 3 as well, were less Twitch, and it was more,
Well, I don't mean
they
like
were
a
always
Twitch, like
the combat
multiplayer type.
especially the combat especially on the GameCube, just the way it was designed, because you essentially only had the one Joy-Con. It
Yeah.
was designed with lock-on combat, more or less. You could look up and down, but most of the combat was you're just gonna lock on to
Yeah,
each
so
area
like
that you're fighting.
this might even be a game where like 4K actually 4K 60 is good enough on the frame rate and
'Cause
actually
it'll play
might
like an actual a modern FPS, not the limitations
because
that
I
the
would
actual
love to
GameCube
see
controller
this
had.
in 4K. I mean, the jump, we've talked about it many times, but like that jump from seeing the first Metroid Prime game was crazy, but then seeing Metroid Prime Remastered, how much better that looked was
Oh, it was,
crazy, and that
10
looked
times better.
4K.
And it's crazy
And
as you look back on the original trailer, like, I remember first playing Metroid Prime 1 thinking those graphics blew my mind back in
like, it can't get
2003.
any better than that. Like, we
And
thought
now it
that.
just looks so old, antiquated, and the new ones are like, "Oh, this looks so much better." Like, if I saw these new graphics back then, I think my head would have blown up.
I mean, if I want to see what Metroid Prime looks like in 4K, I truly do. So, like, for me, like, I am with you where I have a 4K TV, but it's not a VRR and it's not 120 hertz or any of that
Yeah.
stuff. So it's just plain 4K. Um, but I am going to get a 4K monitor, and this is one of the reasons why is because I want to check this stuff out. But Monster Hunter is also a reason why I really want to see the full potential of that resolution wise. But like the Switch too is going to be a big reason why I do want to get 4K because there's some of these games where it's like playing, for instance, when we get the sequel to Super Mario Odyssey, like seeing Mario in 4K, something I could have never imagined would be just like a monumental thing for me to see these
Yeah.
Nintendo games in 4K. Something I just thought I would never see.
You kinda came to the
Um,
conclusion, like, I don't know if Nintendo's ever gonna make a console that can even do that in the
right,
near
that's what
future.
we
With the
thought,
way they
right?
were going with the Switch, it's like, yeah, I mean, 1080p,
But to
it's
see
okay.
Metroid Prime 4 in 4K, to me, I don't even have a 4K monitor. To me, that is worth investing in that ahead of time to see that in 4K
I mean,
because
to
it's
be
just
fair, I bought the Switch originally just for, Metroid Prime
I
4,
remember, yeah.
and we went the whole life cycle without having it. I guess technically now, but at this point,
Yeah.
playing on the Switch 2 will be the
But I
preferred way
mean,
to
I
play
think
it.
the wait might be worth it because from what we've seen on this, like it looks phenomenal. And I'm curious on the new gimmick of the psychic powers. I like the new suit design. I think it looks really good.
Yeah, I think it
Um,
does.
yeah, I think it looks really, really good. Not quite as
We
good
definitely
as
we need a portion of this game where we can play as Zero Suit Samus. That's what I want in this game.
that's the most boring Samus though.
Oh my god, this guy. Not the whole game, just a small portion. Redesign her Zero Suit. Don't make it look like it's
In
just gonna be
4K.
trash.
Now in
Exactly.
4K.
Give you
All right.
all of Samus's glory in 4K. I would
Oh
give me the
my
skin type
gosh.
too.
You were something else, man. You were something else.
Hey,
But
this goes
yeah, I mean,
all the
like
way back
this
to the NES
the
version of
first
Samus.
game, yeah. No, but seriously, Switch 2 is like a reason that I actually do want to invest in having a 4K monitor now. Because before I kind of just didn't care as much. Like we talked about it before, where we're like 1440p is good enough for me. I care more about frame rate, which I still do. But there are some of these games where I would actually love to see, and if it runs 4K 60, not 4K 30, even better. If it ran 4K 30, I would 100% play the frame rate mode. But running
Yeah, I would as
4K
well.
60 is good enough for me, and to see it in 4K, that's awesome. Even better. It's just
Yeah.
something I could have never imagined. So, but it'd be a different story if it was 4K 30, because then I wouldn't want to play that mode. But 4K 60 all day. Yeah, I want to see that in 4K. I truly do.
100%. As well as we another big feature that we're getting that essentially we haven't really seen. I don't think it was on the 3DS, but the original DS, which was a game sharing feature essentially. So like one
Yeah,
person has a copy of the game, and then you can play a limited version of that game with other people in local co-op essentially that are like right near you. With the DS's download play, whether it was near a bunch of people or you go to like Walmart or GameStop and
I
download
love
the
that
game
feature.
essentially.
I love that feature. I remember Super Mario 64 DS had that feature where you could play a bunch of the mini games with other people, and I love that feature because we got to experience more games, and we also got to like kind of test drive games and see if it's something we wanted that a friend had. And um we were kids, so we all couldn't afford everything, so it was neat to have that feature where
Yeah, and
you could
they
try the game.
And then if you look at the actual trailer for this and stuff like that and what they showed that it wasn't they say it's a software update. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but in the trailer, they showed the I don't know. I don't know. Is this exclusive to the Switch 2, or will it let you play on the Switch 1 at all as far
I
as
think it's
the
Switch
share?
2 exclusive, the game share.
Okay. 'Cause it would be nice if they allowed you to use the Bluetooth and do it with the Switch 1, but, I still think it's a neat thing and stuff like that that you're able to play across to just share because it's just like, hey,
Yeah.
maybe it's like a fun little like a game, something like a bomb ransom you could play real quick and stuff like that.
And
So
I one thing I was thinking about too, I thought about this after because we talked about it while we were live covering the Nintendo Direct, but the game chat feature, I feel like it could grow on me because I kind of get I get what they're going for. It's not per se like something I'm,
it's their
like
own version
super
of Discord
excited.
essentially.
It is, but it's like within the game. It could be This could be very interesting for streams. This could be very interesting for literally just meeting up with your buddies and
No,
playing.
I think
And
it's neat, but like I think outside of just the voice chat, I think most everything else is very niche and won't be used really all that often
I don't
unless
think
like,
it'll be
hey,
used
you're
a
playing a
lot,
game, you're
but
like, I don't know how to
I
do this.
get
Like,
the
all right,
concept.
show me what you're trying to do, and I can kind of help you out or trying to find something. But I think for the most part, it's just going to be the voice chat's really all people really wanted, and that's what most people are going to end up using it for. I think the camera stuff is nice, but like with how low the frame rate's going to be and stuff like that with the camera, like I don't care if I see your face at the bottom of the screen. I get what they're going with trying to re-emulate the couch co-op. I just don't think most people are gonna care or use it or have a camera like set up
Yeah, I
all the
think it'll
time.
definitely be one of those features, kind of like HT Rumble, where it's like
It's there, but it doesn't really get
it's
used.
there, but it doesn't get used as much. But it would be interesting to see what they do with it. If they do use it in a right way, like it could be pretty cool. I mean, is it designed, really for me? Not necessarily, but it doesn't mean that I won't try this out because some of the games they showed off doing this with could really make sense for like streams, like community streams, playing with other people on, you know what I mean? Like playing
Yeah.
with other people in the community on stream, like that could be really fun. Like a Mario Party game, like playing Mario Party like this could be really interesting, like a game like that, or like Mario Kart, or things
Oh
like
yeah.
that could actually be pretty interesting.
No, I agree completely. And you know what? The more I looked into it, the more that this next game didn't really surprise me with how hard Nintendo had been going uh, with other games and over like the past with their park and stuff like that. But the new Donkey Kong 3D game that we haven't had in like it feels
Since
like forever.
64,
Yeah,
we've only ever had one.
but
I
you know, with everything else that we've gotten and stuff like that, with their support from their actual park to some of the other
And we're getting a
Donkey
Donkey
Kong
Kong
Country
movie.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the movie, this doesn't surprise me as much. It's just I don't think anybody really saw this coming or anybody was even really talking about this even being a thing, which is crazy.
I know, and it's what's crazy is that as much as I love my 3D platformers, doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's fun, that's all I care
Yeah.
about. But and my collectathons and things like that. But to me, because it's been so long since we've gotten a Donkey Kong game like this, or really, you could say we've never gotten one on the scale of,
I don't
Donkey
think we
Kong
really have because
64
most
is
of
very
them were
linear.
really I think most of them are really just linear side-scrolling
Yeah,
games for
even
the most
Donkey
part.
Kong 64, it's a collectathon, but it's linear. Like, to me, this is actually a little more exciting than just another 3D Mario because it's something completely different. Like, this looks like an almost open world-esque game where it is like still linear, you can tell, but like it looks like there it looks like Super Mario Odyssey, but Donkey Kong to
Yeah,
me.
it's one of those games where it's like it's you look back on it now, you're like, "I'm surprised that Donkey Kong really never got this much love
Which
since
it
the Super
finally
NES version."
could. I mean, maybe we finally will get the love that Donkey
'Cause
Kong
since, like,
deserves.
Donkey
'Cause
Kong Country was, like, they were great games, and then they
big deal.
just after the 64, they just kinda didn't care about him for, like, a few generations.
Yeah, I mean, he kept getting the 2D games and stuff, which were great, but he just was not getting the
But
love that
but that was the
Mario
era where
got.
3D was the thing, and 2D was just seen as, like, a secondary title, like a game that just wasn't, like, your main title you're gonna invest a lot of money into.
Like, so for you, because this is gonna be like a 3D Mario game, but Donkey Kong with Donkey Kong characters and in that world, like, is this a game that really interests you? Or is this one where you're
I don't
like,
know, I guess I'll play it either way and see how it goes. I'll play it obviously once I have a Switch too.
yeah.
But, like, I guess, I don't know, Donkey Kong just always been that he's been like it was there since the beginning, but he's largely, since the early era was just kinda relegated to the sides as, like, another character in the multiplayer series of
And
games.
you know what? At first, when we first saw, I don't know if you remember the leaked image, but before we knew about Mario Kart World, just the fact that we were getting a new Mario Kart, when I first saw the image of the redesign for Donkey Kong, I absolutely hated it. I didn't like it at
Oh, because of
all.
what they were doing with the movie and stuff? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
feel you.
now I get it. I get what they're going for. I understand. I
See
understand what they're going for now. They're going for a more universal look where it's going to tie into everything all together. Like it makes sense.
Yeah,
I didn't like it at first at all. I really didn't because I'm so attached to that original rare design of Donkey Kong. But this makes sense, and he actually is like more emotive. Like you can see more expression in his faces when he's doing stuff in the world, and even on the cover for the game, for instance, like you can see how much more emotive he is in this particular game. That just makes it a little more interesting, and it's something a little different that I am. I definitely want a new 3D Mario, no doubt about that. But I actually am happier to see this something different and something with an IP that deserves more love, and I think will get more love because we got the theme park, we're getting the movie, we're getting this game, we got obviously Mario Kart World, we got so they're really trying to pump up this IP again, which is what they
yeah.
need to do because we need more than just Mario.
Yeah,
Games
because we
that
got a
I
lot of
will
good stuff, but this was, like, definitely the one that I don't think anybody was expecting. I think everyone saw it and they were just
people
assuming it
kept
was the next Mario
well,
game.
people were asked for years for a new 3D Donkey Kong game, and people just assumed
They're
it
like,
would
"Oh, here's
never
Donkey Kong
happen.
Country." Another one.
Yeah, yeah. Willie Ware said games that I want to see follow ups to are Wave Race, Blast Corps, Star Fox, just to name a few. so much potential in the IPs that have been asleep for a while. I agree. F-Zero would be a big one for me. Star Fox would be a big one
Then
for
again,
me,
the
and
last
Wave
time they
Race
tried
is
that with Star
great.
Fox, it just wasn't the best game, and it was also received terribly. So I think Star Fox
Which is
has
unfortunate
a chance
because
to be
it's a
dormant
great
for a while.
IP. It's a really good IP. It's
I think
just
everyone's just too connected to the 64 game. Star Fox 64.
I mean, yeah, I would
I
say the same for the SNES game because I would say just as notorious,
I would say
right?
I'd say the 64 is really the one game most people remember Star Fox for, and that's where they say it peaked.
I think of the SNES game first, but I do
I
think of the
don't know anybody that would
64
ever
game.
think of the SNES game. I think the SNES game was way before its time. Because I went back and played. I'm like, this is, uh, it's the same game as the 64, but the 64 is just better in every aspect.
But regardless, I think that if Star Fox made a proper comeback and they did it right and they really, really put their effort into it, it could take off. I mean, it's very likable
You know
characters,
what I want? And we brought up
Willie
before.
and what is it?
Because he brought up the Wave Race, I was like, yeah, Wave Race should be great. Another Hydro Thunder, which is an IP that's
Yeah,
outside of the arcades, just
dude.
dormant.
What was so cool about Wave Race is that it was always like it was always a launch title for the consoles where it showed the water physics and it was amazing for the time. Do you remember Wave Race 64 seeing those water physics for the first time,
Oh yeah, it was one of
or
those areas you're like,
Wave
oh,
Race
this is like the
Blue
best thing I've ever
Storm on the
seen.
GameCube? Like the water physics are mind blowing even today. Like the water, we don't even get water physics like that now. Like they were
To
mind
be fair, there's a
blowing.
lot more that the games are more complicated than they were back then, that you have to deal with. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. It would be really cool, and a new Blast Cores would be cool too, man. I would love to see them revive some of these properties that I think have just
Like
left
a
dormant, like
smaller scale
F-Zero, what is
game
going
for some
on?
of these games, a smaller scale $40 game, I think would be just fine.
Yeah, I just wanna know what are they doing with F-Zero? I don't understand. We're getting F-Zero
Be
now with the GameCube games, like, they're
Like, I guess
bringing
'cause we always said it competes too much with
but
Mario Kart. They
it
wanna
really
focus on one
doesn't.
racing game,
That's
but
like
now they're doing Kirby Air Ride, which is the
is
same
a
thing. It competes
racing
with
game.
Mario Kart. So, like, if you're willing to do that with Air Ride, are you willing to revisit F-Zero,
I
which, to
see
be fair,
F-Zero as
was
a much more
always more
serious
it
racer
was
than
always
I
more of a single player game is what it was, where Mario Kart was the multiplayer game.
yeah, and it was a party game at the end of the day. It was a
It always
party.
has been a party. This was an actual just a fast-paced single player racing game for the most
And
part.
like F-Zero 99, look, it's the only 99 game that's still around. It's doing very well. I play it every week to get my
I
coins. I
think it's
still
just
think it's
people
fun.
want another F-Zero game. But then again, how long ago did that game come out? F-Zero 99 was like a year or 2 ago?
2 years ago, I think, something like
Even if
that.
that game did look good and like, "Okay, let's make another F-Zero," it'd be too early to even get any kind of, decision on like, even if they started a year afterwards in development, well, you wouldn't have heard anything by now anyways. So there's always a chance the next 2, 3
Yeah.
years, if they are finally working on a game, you'll finally hear about it, later. I just even if they're working on it right now, it's just too early to come out and actually say anything, but it would be nice.
Yeah, Willie says bring back Diddy Kong Racing. I agree. I think Diddy Kong Racing is a better game than Mario Kart 64 because it had an adventure mode and you could fly in planes and
I
you
don't
could
know. I guess it depends on the closer you get to Mario Kart, are they willing to do that, or would they just
I don't
implement
I don't know
Donkey
because it
Kong
was a
characters
rare property. You got to
into
remember
Mario Kart, essentially?
it was a rare property for one.
But doesn't the IP itself belong, it's all Nintendo characters, though, they just developed the game.
Yeah, I just don't. When you say competing with Mario Kart, that one I do feel like is competing
It's
with
the
Mario
closest
Kart.
one, I
It's the
guess. Air
closest
Ride
one.
is not really the same, obviously, F-Zero is its own thing, but you got the feeling Nintendo only wanted one they didn't want anything that could potentially compete with Mario Kart with how popular it got, so they just stayed away from everything for the
Which is
longest
it's
time.
a real bummer because I love Diddy Kong Racing. I love Diddy Kong Racing DS. I love the adventure mode. I thought it was so fun that there was an actual story mode for it,
I think you could
and
argue, as of right now, Mario Kart's Nintendo's most popular IP right now, because 8 and 8
it
Deluxe
is because it
are, like, the
sells every
best-selling
week.
Switch game.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it
think they sold
is.
over it's sold over 50 million copies, I think, globally in its
Do
lifetime, which
you
is insane.
It is absolutely insane. Do you think that we get an Animal Crossing New Horizons Nintendo Switch 2 edition? Or do we
I
just
think
get
there's a
a
chance it might
new
get an
Animal
upgrade, but
Crossing?
to be fair, I think a new Animal Crossing game on exclusively on the Switch 2 would be
I think
preferred.
they
I
have
think you'll
to.
eventually get some kinda, like, just update or something like that, or it'll just generally run better, but I
Yeah.
think Animal Crossing ran just fine for the most part on the Switch.
Yeah, it
I
was
just think
fine. I had no
a
problems with it.
bigger world, something that's less like that, more like maybe going back to, like, the GameCube era games would be a lot better.
I would like to see, like, a return f well, like, return to the, like, DS era of Animal Crossing because
Yeah.
I think that's where it peaked for me. I
I don't
still
think they
play them
expected,
all.
the one on the Switch to be as popular as it was, but the
All
timing just kinda
COVID,
worked for
man.
them.
All COVID,
Yeah,
yeah.
the way it was designed, you're sitting here like, "This was not designed as, like, a big game." They realized how it was gonna be that popular, the game would've probably looked and had a lot more content to
And
it.
you know what's crazy? Yeah, they never did add, like, a ton of content to it either. It
I don't
wasn't
think they ever
like
planned to. But I think
it.
they also I think Nintendo's one of those studios that understood this game's popular because it just happened to come out during COVID.
Yeah,
And so they were like, "Yeah, it's popular." They knew the popular wasn't gonna last, so they definitely limited. They just pocketed the
yeah.
money and limited the
They
work
coulda
that went
added
into that
so
game.
much more content to that game, though, like, it could still be
Yeah.
alive and kicking, but, yeah, definitely interesting to, see what happens there, so
But I mean, if you're, it's not the same, but Best Buy is doing a midnight release for the Switch 2. Uh, they say uh, they say mini, so you have to probably check locally, but will allow players who pre-ordered a Switch 2 to essentially pick it up at midnight on launch day. So it's not the
wow.
you still have to wait in line to get it, but you can still if you're able to pre-order it through Best Buy, you can still at least do a form of a midnight launch, which is nice to somewhat see that coming back in some form to the very least.
Matt
I don't know
Long
how you feel about
6
this.
Yeah, I don't know. Matt Long 6 said he just came back from watching the Minecraft movie. I feel sorry for you.
Everything I've seen, but like it kind of looks what I expect, and it just doesn't look like a good movie. But like I didn't.
Look,
The
I'm
trailer for me wasn't good, but I don't know. Maybe that's just
look,
personal.
I'm not a Minecraft fan anyway to begin with, but,
There's no story
and
to
not
Minecraft.
and no hate or
It's just
anything,
a
Matt. Anybody can enjoy
yeah.
the movie or whatever, but for me, when
Not
I
not
saw
not
the
trying to not trying to
trailer.
crap on you.
Yeah, I'm not trying to crap on you, but when I saw the trailer for that movie, it instantly said, "Stay far away from watching this."
I guess here's the better
It
idea,
was
'cause I
like the
guess if you're like a
Borderlands
really
movie.
young kid, you'd probably like the
Yeah,
movie.
sure, sure.
My first idea was like, this would have been better all digital or all CG. But like, let's be fair. When it comes to adapting games and stuff like that, there's far more failures than there are successes. So we all
Yeah.
just kind of had our preconceived notions like it's another video game adaptation. It's more than likely going to be bad. So that's so I guess the idea is if your expectations are at the bottom, they can
Yeah.
only go up.
It could only go up, but hey, he says it's surprisingly good, so maybe it is good, you know?
I guess it
I'm
works.
glad you liked it, you know? I'm glad you
Like, I don't
liked it.
care for Jack Black all that much. He just seems to be in everything that's mediocre, but I do
He
like Jason
does, like,
Momoa as an actor.
Jumanji and all that crap,
Yeah.
like, those are really bad.
I think Jason Momoa is a far better actor, but I don't it just I don't know, the way
He
that,
doesn't
the
scream
initial trailer
Minecraft
was
character to
perceived.
me. Exactly, but
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess it, should probably try to go watch it this weekend at least, give it a shot, and we can at least talk about it next week, so
if you wanna do that, we'll do it.
I mean, I
I'll take
suffered through
my
the
daughter to
Borderlands
see it,
movie.
she'll
It can't be worse than that god
see,
awful
I
thing.
didn't even do that,
I
but
was the only
we
one in
were
the theater.
supposed to. We were supposed to, but we never got to talk about it, I forget why. I woulda
For the
went.
best. The movie was terrible. I hated it, but
If we actually plan to go do this, then yeah, I'll take my daughter and we'll talk about it. We'll do our
I mean,
opinions on it.
I guess it's worthwhile.
Yeah, as long
At
as we
least
actually
Matt's
do
saying
it.
it's not the worst thing, so it's, at least one person saying it's bad. Actually, I can see if there's any reviews on it.
Yeah, see what the like Rotten Tomatoes or something is on it.
So the critical score on Rotten Tomatoes is 48. This is another one of those movies where the audience and the critics don't like it. So it's a 48 from 108 reviews critics. It's an 85 with 1,000 plus
Oh
verified
wow,
reviews
way
from
higher
the
than I would have
audience.
thought of for audience. Way higher than I would have
Because
thought
I
of.
did see that a few days ago. The critical review was 48, and people just like, oh, maybe it actually will be a good movie. Well, that's not like that's a trend. There are times where the audience
Yeah,
and the critics do agree a lot of times, but they saw that, and I was like, maybe this is the time that the critics are kind of right about it. But I mean, if
Do you
it's
want to
out in
review Snow
85,
White?
you couldn't pay me much money to go watch that. You realize that movie ends with a Diddy party, essentially, right? The way that the end theme
No,
of that movie or
man.
something like that.
Did I tell you
That
the
that's
story
the that's
about
the
how
joke everyone made about it.
before all the stuff came out about it, like when this was like before it came out, and
Oh my
like
god,
we had,
Rachel
I
Zegler
didn't know
is
anything
such
about the
a
actor. I didn't know
I
about any of
cannot
the.
stand her.
Yeah, this is before all of
Ugh,
that, right? I didn't know anything
yeah.
about it. I like watching these adaptations with my daughter. Like she's enjoyed some of these, like the Lilo and Stitch one. We're really excited
Yeah.
for. I can't wait to watch that. She's
I
gonna
think they
love
should do
that.
that one right and stuff like that, but
They
I don't
got the right girl for it. Stitch looks good. Like I think that one's gonna be right. But anyway, we
it's one of
like
those, are they
watching these.
actually tired of losing money and they're actually getting people that know how to write a movie to write
I
their
don't
movies
know.
for once and
But we
stop
were
doing the
going to
bare
go watch
minimum?
this. I was going to take my daughter to go watch this, and like I opted to not do it anymore after everything that I saw about it. I was just like I
But, I mean, I
can't
guess
do
it's
it.
reviewing well.
Yeah, apparently. But yeah, anyway, it was packed and everyone was repeating Jack Black lines. Well,
Of
that's good, I
course.
guess there. That's good to hear
Have
that,
to pick a
it's
late
not.
night movie, so I'm weird. I don't mind matinee movies, but, like, I kind of enjoy being, like, the only person in the theater when I go watch, like, a movie at,
Oh,
like,
I
9
do
o'clock
too.
at
I
night.
get I
Like,
get
I get
annoyed the
you
weekend
want
stuff with
people
the
in the theater.
phones and the
It's
loudness
just
and
nice being,
the.
like, the only one in there and stuff like that because less people and stuff like that, and it's just I don't know, it feels like you got the theater to yourself.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I feel it. I feel it. All right, what else we got, Mark?
No, Mr. Coffee said, Minecraft movies made for kids like Roblox, Minecraft, and TikTok. I only like one of those things. I don't mind. Minecraft's a decent open sandbox game. I don't mind it. But it's a game you go through phases of wanting to play it for a few weeks and then you won't touch it for a few months.
My daughter loves Roblox and
Oh
she
my god,
enjoys Minecraft, but I do not let her
I
use
remember that
TikTok.
game was still out when we were in I remember being in like high school, middle school, and that game being out.
I know you brought it up. It came out in like what 2008 or something.
It's a really old game. I remember because I remember at least still in high school and that game being out. It's a really old game. I'm surprised it's even still around. Surprisingly,
I know. It seems like maybe the popularity is not really left. Maybe a
I mean,
little,
Minecraft's
but
it's still a really popular game. It makes a lot of money.
yeah, it comes out on every system.
Yeah, but obviously outside of going back to some of the Switch stuff, outside of the Nintendo games, we had what's it, another 20 confirmed games at launch. Some of these are Nintendo games, some of these are third party. A lot of these are ports and stuff like that. So you had Arcade Archives 2 Ridge Racer. It's always good to see another Ridge Racer. Uh,
Mhm.
Barely Default, Flying Fairy HD
Bravely,
Remaster.
barely default, barely legal.
Bravely Default, my bad. I'm
Oh
not
my
dyslexic,
gosh.
but apparently I am sometimes. We're getting the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Civ 7, which you couldn't pay me enough to play that game. Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, which I can't
That's
go to
really
back.
cool. That's
I
really
mean,
cool that it's
it's
coming.
gonna. I know the performance is around 30 to 40 frames per second, but like that's not why I won't buy this game. I can't play that game because the game's so much better modded. It's kind of like Skyrim. I can't play the vanilla version
I don't
anymore.
even know how to mod a game yet.
It's not the easiest game to mod, but I think it's worthwhile. Deltarune is coming to the Switch. Fast Fusion, uh, Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess, if I didn't butcher that. Hitman World of Assassination, Hogwarts Legacy, obviously Mario Kart World, Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, which should be a packing game,
That
and
should
it's
be a
not,
packing
and
game. I cannot believe they're selling that for
nobody's paying for that
$10.
game if it's not a free to
I
play game.
cannot believe they're selling that game. That is such
Oh,
a tech
it
demo.
tells you about the Switch too. I'm like, who
It's
paid money
such
for this?
it's like Astro's Playroom where they like go through the PlayStation history, but they
And that's
gave you
it.
that game. Like it
Yeah,
was good
like
because they gave you
this
it.
doesn't make sense. It's one of the few things where I'm like, this. I
I
don't
can't
get why
believe
this is
they're
not a
actually
pack-in
trying to
title.
sell it. Who's going to buy it?
What's it going to be? $5 because it shouldn't be more than that. And
That's I think he said 10. I think he said 10.
nobody's like 5 people are going to pay for that just to play it, and they're going to lose money on that, and
Yeah,
they should.
it's pretty
That
crazy.
should be a pack-in for
It
what it is.
100%.
Like, come on.
It
Uh,
100% should be.
Nobunuga's Ambition,
Oh, we
Awakening
were just
Complete
talking
Edition.
about this series.
Yeah, I think we talked about it during the live stream.
Yeah, we did.
because like there's like so many games of that. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S, Rune Factory, Guardians of Azuma, Nintendo Switch 2
That
edition.
one I'll be picking up.
Oh yeah. Split Fiction, Street Fighter 6, which I'm sure caught a lot of people off guard that's actually on a Nintendo system. Survival Kids, uh, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 edition, and then Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, which hopefully means we're getting more Yakuza, all the Yakuza games coming over to the Switch.
That'd be great. That was a really random one, though. It seems like
Yeah.
it just did not see that one coming, but no, that's
But as
good.
far as Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games from Nintendo, it's only Mario Kart World and some Switch 2 editions for Switch 1 games.
Which
But
about
there's a
normal.
healthy
That makes
amount
sense.
of ports and other third-party games that will be there at launch.
Yeah.
So on top of having mostly backwards compatibility, because I know they say there's some games that were having some levels of issues. There's a decent level of games if you only had access to Switch 2 and didn't want to buy Switch 1 games exclusively, essentially. So it's not
And you
it's not
can't
the
forget
worst.
Welcome Tour. That's a first party
I don't know
game
if this is
too.
like the best launch title, especially when it comes to first party games, which is only Mario
I mean,
Kart.
Mario Kart World's a pretty big one, though. That's
But Mario Kart's probably their most popular and profitable IP right now.
yeah, that seems like a really big launch title to me. This seems like maybe the biggest
Based off how Mario Kart
Mario
8
Kart's
Deluxe
ever come
had
out.
done since launch, this isn't looking back now, it's not surprising this is a launch title because that's just is a really popular IP. So,
Yeah. I mean, I
and
think
then
that's a pretty good selection of games to launch with for day
yeah.
one. I mean, for day one, that's pretty good. There's been plenty of consoles where we've gotten way less than that on
And we
day
know
one. So
the other big titles coming. Obviously, about a little over a month later, you're getting Donkey Kong, and then you're getting a Metroid Prime 4 and
mhm,
the Pokemon Legends ZA coming later in the year. So I think they did a nice job with staggering their major games. So
I
you've
think
got
so
at least a
too.
month between Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong, and then probably a few months you're going to get Metroid Prime and then Pokemon games. So they're staggering their major releases for 2025.
I
It
think
feels,
yeah, I think they've got a
and
good plan for
I feel
this.
confident that those are the only major titles that are coming out. If there is like a Mario game coming out, it's probably going to come out sometime in 2026 at this
I would
point.
assume so with the
Why
Donkey
stack
Kong
it up
game coming
too
out.
many big games? Not that many people are going to have access to it year one. So you're willing to wait to release more, major
I
titles
feel
as
like
well.
a 3D Mario, they don't want to compete with the 3D Donkey Kong the same year. I
No,
mean,
even I think that's at the very least you'd want several months between those 2 games. So they're not like, affecting sales of the other. Because like, let's be fair, outside of people like you and me, most people aren't buying more than a handful, like 3 to 5
right.
games probably a year and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because even looking back when you were a kid, your parents, you'd have like maybe 5 to 8 games for a console, and that's like all you had.
Yeah.
Uh, but most people aren't buying like, 5 games a month at this point is what it feels like sometimes, even
Yeah,
though they're
so
mostly
some
so
months it's like, yeah, some months there's nothing, but yeah, for sure. There's all kinds of stuff, man, all kinds of stuff coming out. So I guess to ask you out of all of these, um, I I thoroughly believe that you would enjoy the Bravely Default series. Have you not played it yet?
I've not played it.
I think it's a JRPG series that you would love. So I feel like that one is right up your alley. I really do think you would seriously enjoy that one. But I guess speaking on all the titles here, what piques your interest of grabbing day one
It's
besides Mario Kart?
probably the Zelda upgrades and stuff like that. Because most of those third party games I can play elsewhere, and I probably would still prefer to play them elsewhere, like on PC or something like that. But I think it'd probably that or one of those few titles that I just haven't played, maybe. But it's a really small list just because most of those games if I could buy it on PC, I'd rather buy it and play it on PC. But that's like a personal thing. But
Gotcha.
I mean, there's obviously some other games because you're getting the new From Software game, which I've never been big on their games since the early 2000s, since the Dark Souls era kind of took over. But I mean, I'm sure that's a game that's worth looking into. The fact that the Switch is getting its own
Would
exclusive
you
game.
pick up Split Fiction with me and play through that one as a stream? Because that's like a stream
Yeah, I think
type game where you got to
it's
play with
yeah.
somebody, and I've heard great things about the game too. I've heard it's really,
Because some
really
of these other
good.
games, like I'd have to go back and look. I don't know enough. Like Bravely Default, like I don't really know a whole lot about the game, so I'd have to go back and actually like look at the trailer and be like, would this be in the
And
actual
there's not that
product?
many games too, so it's actually a little bit easier for you. There's only a few games, so it would be
Yeah.
an easier one to get into. But it's something you would enjoy. So
Yeah, and then, as far as, like, the last little stuff, because we got 2 things left to talk about, this is last
okay.
Switch stuff. There are apparently a few features on the Switch that require an update to work at launch, and these updates are apparently coming at launch. So the first one is the support for the micro SD express cards will need an update to work, as well as the surround sound effect and its, built-in speakers.
Hmm.
I guess we don't
Oh,
know.
it does have the 3D spatial audio. I forgot.
Yeah.
That's
So the
good.
idea is so we don't know if they were stuff they were still working on, and it's just like we'll update it later, or if this is maybe a way to. And we don't know if there's other things that might need an update, but this is maybe a way that we've talked about. Like, how do you combat people potentially getting games in a console early?
Yeah.
Well, you lock stuff behind stuff where this needs to connect online before certain things will work, which I
Yeah. Yeah.
know has always been a contentious issue, but like
Yeah. I'm
when we
not
were from,
particularly
like,
a
10
fan
years
of the
ago and stuff
concept,
like
but
that, like, I get this is a problem, but, like, let's be fair, especially with the early adopters, at this point, how many people don't have easy access to some form of an internet connection?
because
Especially
I've
with where
opened
we're at.
myself up to PC gaming, I've become a lot less tighter about that. I don't
Like,
like
I
it
get it,
still
maybe
for physical games.
when dial-up was still a thing, but, like, let's be fair, the amount of people that this would probably negatively affect is becoming small. With how connected our just the world in general is becoming, I think this is becoming less of an issue, and it will become more of a strategy if you're worried about maybe consoles and games leaking is there's an update that needs to actually unlock it before you can even do anything. There's some level of stuff that has to get downloaded to allow you to actually play the game. And
Yeah.
I know people will complain about it, and there's a whole host of potential issues, more with the game side than with the consoles. But like, while people complain about it, this probably would affect, at least in the US, a hyper minority of people and people that probably wouldn't even get this on day one and stuff like that, the early adopters. Like, I don't think it's that big of an issue. It's just a thing that, well, you don't want to see it, but it's kind of an inevitability. And especially with the leaks over the past year that Nintendo's had to deal with, it wouldn't be surprising if, especially for some of their maybe their major games, this is the route they start going. Because it's really the only way to keep people from potentially playing your game early is you have some form of a hard lock that the game can't be properly accessed. Um, I know it's there's a whole potential load of issues, but
Yeah.
it's the same thing with digital games. I think another way that this can be combated is going all digital, and I think you're gonna go there, kicking and screaming, but kinda like with AI and a lot of other things, in about 10 to 20 years, I think video gaming's going all digital, and I get
I
the issue,
mean, we're
but
already going
especially, like,
that
if
way with
you're
people really embracing PC
it's
gaming and
already been
stuff.
that way for, like, probably over a decade on PC gaming going all digital and stuff like that. The way Steam deals with it is even if some games are unlisted, obviously, you still have access to the game to kinda, like, redownload, you just can't buy it. There are
Now,
issues
one
with it, but I
one
think
big
it's an
problem
inevitability that
with
we're going.
the digital only thing for PC is now not all services offer or put games out this way. It's
Yeah,
the DRM is a huge issue for me with Steam, and
but it's
I love
kind of
Steam's
like
UI. I think it's great. I'm building up my Steam library, but my GOG library is just significantly more because just DRM
yeah.
does nothing but bog the game down.
No, I
It
get it,
often
but, like,
causes problems for the game and
let's
makes it
let's be
worse.
fair. Like, this is the way things are going. It's really an inevitability at this time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Uh,
It is,
like,
but I wanted
let's just be fair. We're not in the same world we were back in the '80s and '90s with physical gaming, and as much as we wanna complain about there it's easier with digital games are getting they're getting pirated. That's where a large part of the game preservation is gonna be, but if you really think of people like the general consumer who doesn't interact with the medium the way that we do,
but for
they're
me
kind of already headed there. They don't really
they
care as
are.
much. They're gonna play your Maddens, your FIFAs, you maybe not Assassin's Creed as much, but they're gonna play those handful of major titles a year, and they're gonna pick it up maybe once a week, play it with some friends, and they might not touch it for like 2 weeks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
The
will.
average consumer is slowly getting to the point where they just don't care as much. And it's I believe at this point the minority of people like us that think the way we do that don't like it, complain about it, but you kind of have to come to an understanding
I mean,
of
I was even
this
hesitant to
is the way
buy.
things are going, and you're not really going to stop it when these studios just decide this is what we're doing, take it or leave it. You know, you're just going to either accept it or you're just going to be stuck with playing older games at that point.
Yeah, I was, like, even hesitant. Now, the decision I made is that I will buy it physically still regardless because I'm a huge fan of the series, but I was, like, very hesitant to even buy Monster Hunter on PC when I knew I wanted it on PC because I knew is where I was gonna play it the best, right? Like, I
Yeah.
knew that, but it was like it's one of those series where I always get it physically, and it's one that I just love enough to have physically, so I'm just gonna get it at a later date at a cheaper price on
Actually,
PS5
that's
too.
what I've done with a lot of games. Like I prefer to play on PC, but for a lot
Especially
of like
now I'm
some other
upgrading my
games that I like,
graphics card and stuff, like, I really
yeah.
want to. Yeah, I
But like,
really
hey,
wanna
if you're
test this stuff out.
it's even the same thing on PC, like, if you're willing to wait a few years, you can get it cheaper even on the digital, but, like, if
Yeah,
you're willing to
yeah.
if you want it brand new, if you're willing to wait a few years and get a used copy, you can get a game a few years down the road for, like, 20, $30 physical for, like, PS5 or PS4 and stuff like that, assuming it's in good condition, and it's not the worst thing if you want a physical down the road. And like to be fair, I played a lot of games digitally, and with some games, I'm like, oh, I'm glad about this digitally. Well, maybe not as much, but like if I bought this physical, I'd have sold it for the $5 to GameStop because I'm like, I'm never gonna play this game again. I'll sell it for
That's fair.
the minuscule amount of money. At least digital, I guess I can still
I
play it,
am
even if I never
still
really will. Pros and cons,
very,
I guess.
very upset with you for having me not buy the ultimate edition of Monster Hunter Wilds because you said, "Oh, it doesn't matter. Who cares? It's all cosmetics." And then you go and
I
buy
didn't
it,
say
and I didn't
I wasn't
buy
gonna
it.
go that route.
And I love the series. I knew I wanted it, and
I
I
just kind of,
should
I
have
don't know.
just
I think I
went
just
with
said
it.
screw it in the end.
You, like, screwed
I'm
me
a
on that.
hypocrite sometimes.
And
I'm sorry.
the thing about digital is that Steam does not offer to let you buy the rest of that by itself. You have
I
to
don't know if
either
it's a
buy
Steam
the
thing or
one
it's a
version.
publisher thing.
No, it's a Steam thing because I've seen it for other games too. Like, you
Okay.
either buy the Ultimate Edition or you buy the base. You can't buy the stuff that you get with that Ultimate. You have to buy one or the other. So if I were to, so I'm like, are you kidding me, Mark? Like, I knew I wanted that, but I let you
Well,
talk me into
you should
something.
have just bought it
I
then.
know, but I let you talk me into something because then I started to think about it. I was like, oh, maybe I really don't need this. And then you went and bought it. I'm like, all right, cool, cool. This is great.
I don't always follow what I say, it's a thing. It's one of those
I
things you're like, "Oh,
well,
why
I
would
will
I
know
say?"
that for next time. um, but no, well, I guess do we have anything left for news
Uh,
wise or
the last thing, because obviously we have to, crap on, no, let's say Tencent, Ubisoft, every once in a while, and this was some relevant news for the last 2 weeks and stuff like that because, could we I don't know, we weren't able to talk about it last week, the fact that there's, Ubisoft is making a subsidiary studio with a significant, I think it's like a 25% ownership via Tencent for their
okay.
major titles, which is like their Assassin's Creeds, their Rainbow Six. Is it Far Cry? Yeah, it should be Far Cry as well, and some other their main IPs. Uh, Essentially, that you would think that would save the company, but as more information comes out, essentially, it's that deal is helping to essentially tank Ubisoft's stakes. They're essentially offshoring to a separate company all their major IPs with Tencent, and it kind of feels like the main Ubisoft company is just gonna is inevitability. It's just kind of gonna shutter, and they're moving to this new company that Tencent's probably gonna have a controlling stake here eventually. It's what it feels like. But essentially, after this came out, the stocks continued to drop. A lot of their shareholders are trying to essentially force a lawsuit to get Ubisoft to renege on that deal because it's
Yeah.
negatively affecting their shares. I don't know how the legality is going to work out and stuff like that. Because the other thing is, there's a lot of employees who, instead of taking a, I think it's what, a cash bonus. It's like, oh, you can offer a cash. Like a lot of companies will be like, here's cash bonus, or we can give you X amount of shares in the company stock, in the
Hmm.
obvious hopes that it goes up and you'll make money in the long term. But because
Gotcha.
especially after this deal, the stock was going down. Obviously, there's a lot of other stuff that affects it, but it's continuing to be bad for Ubisoft stocks. They're essentially saying they're not. they're not doing their fiduciary responsibility to the shareholders and stuff like that. So they're trying to get this, whether Ubisoft will do it voluntarily, which I
Yeah.
don't think they will do, or they're going to try to force their hands legally, or else it just feels like the Ubisoft as we know will cease to exist, and it's going to become more of a Tencent Ubisoft, where Tencent is essentially going to tell Ubisoft what they're going to do because of the amount of investments they're putting into the company. And then whoever owns the current stock, it's just, well, your SOA, you better get rid of it now,
But
or
didn't they
before
sell so many copies of Assassin's Creed?
they said players. Let's be fair, you could have played Assassin's Creed Shadows for $15. If
What?
you do the Ubisoft Plus, their streaming version of it,
Yeah. Well,
you got
and
access to that game. That's $15 a month.
apparently,
You could have spent $15, played that
so
game for a month, and canceled your
I
subscription.
will technically have a copy of it because it comes with my GPU for free.
But
Um,
that's the other thing, because it's the same thing even with, I'm pretty sure, Xbox Game Pass, you probably would have had access to the game. So this is the other issue with streaming. The way some of these streaming stuff works for games is your play. Just because you say you have a million players doesn't mean that million players paid $70 for
right,
your
right,
video game
right.
because of how they could access it. So you may have only had half those people potentially pay that full price. Everyone else is paying a subscription service for it, which means you're not really making that full money. Or if it's through Game Pass, there's a contract, so they're getting X amount of money based off of probably how many people play the game or how long they play it, or whatever
Right.
the deal is behind the scenes. Which means in theory, you're not potentially maximizing your profit. Unless they're playing it through the Ubisoft Plus, because I don't know if it's through Game Pass, but if it's through Game Pass, that's great for Microsoft, but for
So
non-subsidiary companies, it could be a negative thing. But so there's the issue. That's I think that's why they're saying more player numbers and not sales,
yeah,
because the sales technically aren't that high.
apparently Assassin's Creed Shadows attracted over 3 million players in just 1 week, but most of these players are from Western countries. And it also says in the first week in Japan, Assassin's Creed Shadows sold 17,701 physical copies for PS5, which is 60% less than Assassin's Creed Valhalla and even lower than Odyssey and Mirage, despite its Japanese setting.
I mean, to be
So
fair, those numbers sound low, but compared to like US numbers for game sales are always going to be low. Just to kind of put that out there, but the 60% means you'd be closer to like 100,000, 150,000 players
apparently
off
Valhalla,
the top of
which
my head
I
again.
thoroughly enjoyed, I thought was a great game, sold quite a bit more physically in
Oh,
Japan. So
100% the discourse around this game, it was, the extra time was great
Valhalla
for the game
thankfully
to
was
play better.
pre-DEI. There was no DEI in that game. I played
No,
it.
the discourse negatively affected that game because like, we talked with some people, and I think, to be fair, uh, Asmongold probably gave it a fair review. He said it was like a 6 or a 7 out of
Yeah,
10.
he was
Like,
being fair about it even. There were
he's like,
people that
it
were
the game, like, there's portions of the story that are bad, and the story is where the most of the conflict really comes from, and some of the writing and some of the romance stuff like that. But he's like, the game itself performs mainly fine. And I don't know if he brought it up, but I would say some of the microtransactions was far bigger of an issue than probably anything else.
the
You could
microtransactions in that
pay
were
to unlock the
are
map.
horrible.
You could
I
pay to
mean,
unlock the map and a few other things
am
and
I
stuff like that, that
surprised?
Ubisoft's been doing
Not at
for a
all.
while.
This is a Ubisoft tactic through and through. They do this for
I mean,
everything, but
EA
it's
does
like
EA has
it's
just as scummy
disgusting.
practices, but
It's disgusting. I mean, seriously, what has
yeah.
happened to video games? This is
Like, the fact that
disgusting.
they're
They're
microtransactioning the hell
hiding a
out of it.
map from you until you
It's
pay
a
for it.
single player game, and you can pay to unlock so much of that game. Like, it's one thing if it's a multiplayer game with microtransactions or it's free to play, but like, come on, the microtransactions are a little much in this game, I would
It's a
say.
single player game. There's no reason for any of it.
You're essentially getting nickeled and dimed to death with some of these games, some of these DLCs.
And
Obviously,
by
you don't
God, they
have
had
to
to,
buy
or they
it.
weren't going to make any money back.
Obviously, you don't have to buy it, but the fact that it's there is not ideal, essentially. But like, if there's any legit criticism of this game, that's where it deserves to be, and because there's not a whole lot of defense for some of that stuff. Where the story and the writing is very well, it's very oh, I don't want to say culture is not what I was thinking of. It's very black and white. It's not the word I'm thinking of, where it's either you're for it or against it. There's no real middle ground in that kind of discussion because it goes
Yeah.
straight to culture war stuff.
I'll tell you what game you should be looking forward to instead of this crap. Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers. That game looks so good. I
I
am
mean,
so excited for that
surprisingly, like,
game.
say what you want about, CCP, a lot of these, Chinese, as well as some Japanese, you're starting to see it in the Japanese development market, and then Korea, and especially China, like, they're definitely, putting games that are doing well. It's almost like, "Hey, you know what," it's like you're listening to what people have been asking for.
Yeah.
It's like, just give us what we want. Like, let's be fair, because I don't know if you've seen it or some of the other people in the audience have listened to it. Because I listen to a fair amount of Aspen just because it pops up in my feed on YouTube.
Every
And
day.
there's stuff I agree with and stuff I don't. It just pops up, and I think he's got decent takes on some stuff, and
Yeah,
he's
he's got good
popular
taste
for a
for the
reason.
most part.
Uh, but it's the idea that and I immediately lost my train of thought there for a second. Give me a second. I'm sorry, I had something and I immediately lost it. What was I trying to think of?
What I will say is Wu Chang is like getting more Stellar Blade to me. It's like
Yeah,
it's more Stellar Blade-esque game that I'm all for. They're doing it right. It looks like all the teasers they're putting out for it looks great. The costumes look great. The aesthetic of the game just looks really fun, and like it's the type of game I want to play.
yeah. I am so mad that I lost my train of thought.
I don't even know what you're trying to say.
I know it's killing me now because it was a good point that I heard him bring up, and then
Phantom Blade Zero.
oh god, it's killing me.
That game
What
looks
about it?
really good too. Phantom Blade Zero. It's another
No, it
Chinese
does.
game. Also, that game that's set in France, that's a Chinese game. That game looks really good too.
Which one is it?
It's set in France, but it's a Chinese developed game. He plays like the French
I'm
girl.
not sure.
Asmund did like a video on it and stuff like that, but it looks really good too. I'll see if I can see what it's called real quick.
Oh my god, this is killing me that I lost my train of thought and I can't remember what I was saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my god, I hate myself. I'm sorry. I it was and I was talking and then I just poof. It's one of those things where you just I can't remember what I was about to say, and I hate it when this happens. I'm gonna remember it like 2 hours. Exactly what I was saying. I can't remember what. Do you remember what I was about to say
I don't
leading up
even
to
know
that?
what you're talking about. To be
I
honest with
know.
you,
Oh
I
my
had no
god.
idea. You just start saying something, and then you stop.
Because stuff pops into my head. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a decent point, and I immediately lost it, and now I'm like really mad at myself.
It's all good. Maybe you'll remember it later.
Yeah, not when we're not on stream.
Well, anyway, I was gonna tell you tomorrow. You got to do a thing. You
What
got
is?
to try to at least get some progress in Monster Hunter before you play it, so that your HR is at least not like super low tier, and we can actually do
All
some
I can be
quests.
promised is that I'll be through the main quest. That's about it.
Well, as long as you get the HR up, it's not hard. It's so easy to do. I'm almost at 200, and I don't even feel like I've played nearly as much as some people.
Yeah,
It's pretty. We just need to get up a little bit because here's the reason why. Since it's a the new content just came out, I would like to be able to stream the said new content instead of streaming the same content I've been streaming for weeks on it. Because like Mitsuni is in there, and you just do the quick, simple like story mission for it, and it's not
yeah,
hard. It's really easy, but there's a whole bunch of new stuff. The multiplayer hub and stuff is coming, and there's all kinds of new stuff for it. So if you can get it up just a little bit, just to be able to fight whatever we want to fight, that would be pretty awesome.
yeah.
And it
I
shouldn't take long. I really don't think it'll
I
take
was
that
trying to remember
long.
what I was saying, and I can't remember, and it's killing me. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good, Mark.
I
Maybe
completely lost my train of thought. And I can't even remember where I was going with that.
what was it? Something to do with Ubisoft or
I can't remember. That's the problem. I thought it was more bigger than that, but I can't remember now. It's killing me.
something about the Chinese developers or
I'm trying to remember because it's. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of all on the lanes because they're like actually like listening to what people want, not just like No, let's force you to play what we want you to play.
Well, they're also not buying into the DEI stuff either. You
I
don't
get
see
you, but I
that
mean,
with
I guess I was kinda goes talking about, like, all the developers, like, they're actually, like, going towards, like, listening to the feedback, not just, like, ignoring what the
yeah.
audience wants, 'cause
Like
the
Wu
audience was
Chang?
very clear, like, players
Do you follow Wu Chang on X? Do you see all the community stuff that they
I
do?
don't, but I kinda remember where I was going with it. It was more like, I do remember what I was about to say now. I don't know why it just took me forever to I, like, go back into the train of you brought it up, I was, like, going back through the train of thought, that Asmon has brought up, and it's the idea that, uh, regardless of what people say and stuff like that, 'cause you see the game developers like, "Oh, we did X amount of work into a game," and I just 'cause I think he's right on this, the average consumer just doesn't only cares about the product, they don't care about the process or the people behind
Right.
it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've watched some of his stuff where he talks about that, where it's just
I
like,
watch them
you
every day
can talk
almost.
about all this stuff that you've done behind the scenes, like, if the
Well,
consumer
it's the
doesn't
whole
care,
deal.
like, your blood, sweat, and tears, if they don't like the product, they're not gonna play it. They're not
It's
gonna
the
like it.
whole deal to me of like when you have those video game presentations and like the people won't shut up and stop talking and just show the game.
Yeah,
Like
well,
we
they talk
don't
about the specs,
care.
like, "Bro, nobody
We
cares about
do
the
not
look at this
care.
eyeball on screen," like,
Show us
let's
the
be fair.
game. Show
Yeah,
us
nobody cares.
gameplay. We don't care that you spent 6 years on this game, we just wanna see the gameplay. We
Yeah,
don't
'cause I thought
care
it was a
about your
good take, and
cinematics.
I think he's right about it. It's like, it doesn't matter, like, what you talk about or what you've done, like, if
It
people don't
doesn't
like
make the
it,
game
people
better,
only
like,
care about the game. You can come out and complain about the effort and all this stuff, like, all these developers did such
like
great
that
work. They
what's
don't
it
care.
called? South of is it called South of Midnight coming out? That just,
Yeah,
like, doesn't interest me at all, really. Like, it
yeah.
just doesn't look interesting to
Oh, yeah,
me at
good,
all.
just gonna shout out, Matt Long said he's heading to bed. Good night. I'm
Yeah,
really glad
no,
to be
we're
done
getting
as
ready to
well.
head off as well
We've
'cause
been
it's
on, like, over 3 hours. We started, like, an
yeah,
hour
but
late.
we had
It's
it this was
crazy.
a big one, though. This was a really big one, so it's we can make an exception. It's all good.
Yeah.
We also spent, like, an hour showcasing stuff, or at least I did.
It's like 40 minutes.
But,
You went on for a long time. I was like, "Oh, this is definitely gonna roll over." No, because you brought it up, South of Midnight. That game has an all-time peak on Steam of 496 players that peaked
oh my
yesterday. This is
god.
the 2nd day it was out.
Oh my
Obviously, we
god. I
don't know
didn't
what
even
the
know it was
other,
out yet.
we don't know what it's like on consoles. This is just Steam, but, like, Steam has a fairly decent indication of what's happening. Like, this
It
game
is
on
an
PC is
Xbox
not
game,
a
so I imagine that prize sales are gonna be more there, but or Game Pass
if they're
anyway.
this bad on PC, they can't be that much better.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
So,
It
because
just I don't like the stop motion animation crap.
Yeah, so they do add the SteamDB does have, like, Twitch stats on their site. So there's 695 viewers right now. The all-time peak was yesterday at 30,000 viewers, but then again, the viewers is not accurate. That could have been, like, 5 really big streamers playing the game that were getting a few thousand viewers each potentially,
Yeah.
stuff like that, so
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and end off here. We had a long podcast tonight. I think we
yeah,
had
I
a lot
mean,
to talk about with
a
Nintendo
lot of Nintendo
and
stuff, which was not surprising. It's dominated the news cycle, and then,
yeah,
I don't know, obviously, there's a lot of, negativity, but I was like, I don't always agree with all what some people are talking about, and it's like, we deal with enough negativity,
you
we
mean
can't
with the
do with
Nintendo
Ubisoft.
stuff? I like we
Yeah,
said
stuff like
before
that.
we even started. It's mostly coming from people that are never even going to buy the system to
And
begin
there's a
with.
lot of, to be fair, there's a lot of, we just didn't bring it up. There's a lot of, I don't wanna say it, but it's misinformation and stuff, like some
A
misleading
lot of
information about some stuff.
misinformation. A lot.
And sometimes I think people just don't think about it
They
as
don't
critically, but
read.
it's like,
They read headlines. They
I was
don't
like, there's enough
read.
negativity about the Switch stuff online. We don't
There's
need to
like
dabble in it.
misinformation about this entire hour-long direct that we just had,
Some
and
of it
people are
is
getting everything wrong.
some of it I can I'm like, "Alright, you have a point with some of the criticisms," but I was like, at the end of the day, we deal with
Look,
enough
I'm
in the
just
podcast, there's
excited
enough
to
of it
play
out
the
there.
system. I
I
wanna
just
be
wanted to just
excited about
stay
something.
positive for it a little bit more. We can talk about some of the once more of the stuff solidified, we can talk about it later, but at least in the immediate aftermath, let's just,
I just wanna
have fun and
revel in
keep
the
it positive,
excitement for it because we've been we so I brought this up before, but we have been talking about at the time, we were calling it the Switch Pro, but we've been talking about it since episode 3 of this podcast.
yeah. Like,
Episode
we can revel
3,
in just the
bro.
positivity for now. There's enough negativity out there, and
There's
then
enough
I'm sure in the
negativity,
future
man.
it'll be small, like, okay, we can once the dust is fully settled, then
We're
we can
excited,
nitpick
that's
things.
all that matters, and it
Yeah.
shows that we're excited for this. I mean,
We
we've
don't
been
have
hyped
to
for this
dabble
for a
in the
long
negativity
time.
like everybody else. It's
Yeah,
I think there's enough negativity out there. I was like, "All right, well, we can dunk on Ubisoft because
and
well,
don't get us wrong, well, I mean, we get into some of our negativity with some of these
there'll
companies.
be some
Well
there'll be some
deserved
legit negativity.
negativity, to be fair, but
There'll be some legit criticisms down the road, but I'm one of those people like, let's let the dust settle and see where things, stands, and then we can address it from there and address it later and stuff like that, but yeah.
yeah, Mr. Coffee, he even brought it up on Twitter earlier. He said people just want to complain because
I
that's
mean,
all they can do.
that's what the
It's
internet is and
games, we
stuff
should
like
all
that.
be there enjoying it. I agree, that's what it's about. It's supposed to be fun, right? Like, if we're
Yeah.
bitching and moaning all the time about this stuff, like, what's the point then at the end of the
Like, let's
day?
be
Like,
fair. Sometimes this may be a little bit hypocritical. Sometimes I think it's warranted, especially on some games and game developers who have a reputation of doing
yeah,
things that are
Ubisoft.
negative and stuff like that, but this is it's a different type of negativity, but I was like, "Ah, there's enough out there." Like, I've been hearing too much. It was kind of like, "Alright, I get it. Let's move on and talk about something else." But I was like, "It's, whatever. We'll deal with it when we deal with it." I just didn't
I
wanna
just think the negativity about the
travel on it right
price
now.
point of I don't know what people are expecting the Switch 2 to be priced at. Do you
For
really
what you
think
were
it's
gonna
gonna
get.
be you
Yeah.
think it's really gonna be $300? Do you know how much the Asus ROG Ally X is? $800. $800 for the base
Yeah.
model. The
Well, it's
base
not even that.
model.
It's, like, let's be fair, the
Like,
economically,
my
we're not where we were in
god.
2019 and stuff like that. There's a lot of inflation, like, I get some of the tariff stuff's gonna drive up some of the costs and stuff here or there, but it's like, let's be fair,
It's
uh,
450, it's less than
Vinny,
any other console on the market.
we've been used to the $60 price tag for almost 3 decades, and, like, eventually, to
It
be fair with the
should
video
have
game
w
prices, that
realistically, it
had
should
to
have went up 2 decades ago. I mean, I'm
I mean,
not
to be
saying I
fair,
wanted it to, but I
especially
like
with, say, Western developers and say they're wanting to unionize, like, that might be good for the worker, but, like, that's gonna jack up some of the price as just
yeah.
the the cost of production are self-inflicted, but, like, generally, like, I get it, everything's just getting more expensive. Why would video games not? Like, I get you don't like it, but, like, if everything else is getting more expensive, this eventually has to get
The
there as
way
well. Like,
the way I
it's
see it with the price
it's
point
gonna
is that Nintendo, for the most part, for all their big party releases, should stick with the price that they have set for whatever that is, which is probably going to be the $70, right?
The only
Uh,
game that wasn't at the 70 was Mario
was
Kart.
Mario
There
Kart
was
8,
some
but
misinformation about the
is
physical
Europe.
stuff
It
that
was
was getting €90 for the physical,
yes, 90
not the same in
euros.
the US, or wasn't confirmed. And then the other big thing, just 'cause that's we already brought up, was the, digital download stuff that some people were talking about. That's not across the board, though I
Yeah, they're
don't
like,
like
"Oh,
some of the box art
$70 for a
design.
remaster." Like, bro,
No. I'm like, that's a lot of these aren't Nintendo games, to be fair. It's the third party that prices that, and that's kinda standard in the industry at
so
this point.
that's the other
But it
thing
was
is
the idea that some games that the physical was a key to unlock a download, and I'm like,
yes,
to be fair, that was already a
that was
thing for
already there.
Switch that were massive in size, so,
It
like,
told you on the box just like these ones do.
but it's
It
not
tells
every
you
game gets
download
the 30
required.
games. Yeah.
It'll tell you on the box,
So there
download
was, like,
required.
some misleading stuff where people were blanketing it across the board. I get it, it's the internet, people,
People are
it's
reading headlines,
yeah.
not reading the actual facts.
I'll be one of those, like, I don't mind traveling in criticism, but, like, let's make it l or we should be responsible in making legit criticism, doing our due diligence, like, we're gonna criticize, that's
Yes.
great. Let's make it legit criticisms. I
Right.
get the $80 price tag, but if you're misleading it with the 90 stuff that was euros, not dollars, it was never confirmed, like,
Yes.
I think you're jumping the gun there. Let's talk the 80 and stuff like that, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, but, like, the industry was already talking about, "We want to go to $100. GTA 6 needs to be 100 so the whole industry standard can move that way." It's like,
Yeah, and look,
we
and
kind of already
we both
were
agreed
seeing the flirting that it was heading this way.
whether we were interested or not. Like I said, I will buy GTA when it comes out, but we even said whether we are interested or not, they can sell that at $100 and they will have a zero problem selling that game and
Yeah.
nobody will complain.
To be fair,
Nobody will
the game is
complain. It's
probably worth the
GTA.
money. Like, not
Well,
every game is worth that price tag, but, like, there's a lot of stuff going into it, and it's just one of those things, and I've kinda come to this conclusion on myself. there's so much like negativity or like hyperpolarization on so many things. It's like I think we owe ourselves and everybody else the responsibility of like, all right, let's pull the pull it back and be a little bit more responsible and more. I don't want to say necessarily moderate on how we talk about things, but like let's be real about
I just
what
don't.
things are happening and like why they're happening. And
Yeah,
we
I
can still
think
disagree with it, but like let's not be like hyperbolic about literally everything because it's not the healthiest thing for the
and
industry.
me and you are not the type to just jump the gun like that on this stuff anyway. Like we
You
want to know the
get older, you
information.
learn like, okay, I read a lot of crap that out the gate is wrong, and later you realize it was wrong.
Like,
So I'm like, okay,
sorry, I'm not a
filter.
headline reader. Like, I need to know the information. I
Yeah,
don't care what your
might be a
headline
minority
says.
in
That
that,
tells
but
me nothing. If I've learned anything these past 4 years, past 5 years, is that I don't trust any news media outlet for anything. So,
I
like,
mean,
I'm definitely not going to listen to your headlines.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can tell you that right now. I'll make the judgment for myself. I will happily research the topic so I can bring the viewers the actual information, the factual information without my opinion thrown in there about
Well,
it or whatever I think is
if it's in there,
should
I'll at
be.
least try to let you know this is how I feel about it and
Well,
stuff like
right,
that.
that's different if you're saying how you feel about it, but my
Try to,
opinion should not change what is factual information. If it is factual, it should be factual. And then I will say, this is how I feel about it. You
yeah,
know, that's
that's the right
different.
thing to do.
That's
Uh,
different, you know. So it's what.
the only sorry, I just wanted to answer Matt Long just because he asked for it. The only direct that we know is on the April 17th, and that's the Mario Kart World direct. That's the only one that we know before launch, and
But there's
probably
definitely more coming for sure. We
it's
just
just
don't know
before
yet.
launch. I can't imagine there being that's specific to that game, but like a general direct, I can't. I assume the next one's probably going
Yeah,
to be sometime in the summer after release,
yeah,
as they
that would
give
be
you the
my
back half of the
guess
year because we
too.
still need like hard release dates for like Metroid 4 and then Legend ZA and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would assume be in the next direct. So
Matt, you should get Monster Hunter Wilds and play with us. You got a PC, you're able to do it. You should be playing with us. All the rest of the community is enjoying it. Unfortunately, our buddy can't play tomorrow that played with us. He played with me, I think 4 or 5 times, played with Mark once with us, but he can't play tomorrow, unfortunately. But you should jump in. I think you would enjoy it. It's a pretty addicting game. It's really fun. But yeah, I guess we're gonna close out here. So for our
started late, went 3.5 hours. So
Hey,
yeah,
it's all
a
good, man.
lot to talk
Had a good
about.
time. Had a good time. For our audio listeners, if you could give us a either subscribe, like, follow, whatever it is on whatever audio platform, all of them are different. That helps us out a lot. Also, if you are an audio listener and you're, listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, definitely check out the live video. You get the live, uncut, raw take as it's happening over on YouTube. It's youtube.com/at Game Junction Media. So definitely give us a sub over there as we continue to try to grow the channel. And we will be live again. Well, we're live every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the podcast. And then live every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time playing a different video game. So for our live viewers and listeners right now, we are playing Monster Hunter Wilds tomorrow. We're checking out the brand new DLC or the brand new update that has came out with the new monster and all that stuff. I'm excited to check it out. I've been obsessed with the game. I've been waiting for a new update and new stuff to come out. So I'm really excited to check that out with Mark. And yeah, so definitely go check out the YouTube channel. Again, it's youtube.com/at Game Junction Media. Give us a subscribe. It helps out a lot. You can follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, X, uh, everything else, TikTok, Instagram, all that jazz. You can find us in our link tree. Link tree has all the links to all our social media, so definitely stay up to date there and posting every day, all throughout the day, all kinds of different stuff. So definitely give us a
It's gonna be
follow.
no, I was
What
gonna
is
say
it?
it's gonna be a big, this year should be big on a lot of Nintendo news
Oh yeah,
on and
for
off. So
sure.
it's gonna be a lot of stuff more sure to come that we're gonna talk with Nintendo, not
And
only in the immediate future. So a lot of good stuff to look forward to.
I am going to do a full video on the 5090, so that should be coming Tuesday. I already ordered my PSU, so that's on the way. I ordered a 1250 watt, but yeah, I want to give a. I decided I just going to do a video on it. Why not? Gets a video out. I'm gonna have to extensively test it. I got to figure out what software I need to use to make sure I've got all the ROPs in it and I'm not missing any. I don't know what software people use. I'm new to this, so
Yeah,
do you
we'll have
know
to
what
let
it
you
is that people usually use to check all that stuff?
know. What is it exactly again? Sorry, I
The
missed the
the,
first
the
part.
ROPs are missing in some of the cards. Remember?
Oh, I'm not
There's a
sure. The
software
rough.
that people use to test it. I want to test it right away. That's one of the reasons I don't want to sell the 4090 right off because I want to make sure everything's good with it. Now, I haven't heard any reports on the model I got, um, but it doesn't
Yeah,
mean
it's not
it's
something I've
not
ever
there.
dealt with, but yeah, it's never something I've really messed with on my GPUs. So
I'm just really excited to try Monster Hunter Wilds with it. I'm definitely the multi-frame generation stuff. See how it looks. I'm really
I
excited
don't think
to.
mine even has that. I think it's a 50 series thing on the cards. If it has to
Yeah, it
do with
is.
AI stuff,
Yeah, it
I can't
is.
remember.
But
About
I'm
maybe
excited to
3
see what it
point.
looks like and stuff like that and how it
Yeah,
performs. So, yep. Again, we'll be like I said, live every Friday, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the podcast and our video game streams every Saturday. And just stay tuned to the socials. We will be announcing anything that comes up. Not sure yet if there's any special occasion stuff coming up anytime soon, but we'll definitely let you guys know. And we appreciate everybody watching, hanging out with us, and we'll see you all later. Have a good one, guys.
everybody.